free. It's free.
It's free.
Of course it is.
If it's free, it's for me. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Thursday Night Forum. No music. The budget didn't allow for that. But you know what? If Arsenal ain't bringing the goods, we're not bringing the goods. Yeah, pull up a chair. You're all welcome here. Let's get into it. We'll talk about it. Emotions, right? Emotions that were running past me yesterday. It was yesterday, right? 2-2. This was supposed to be the extra game. This was supposed to be the game, the gimme. You know what they call it, a gimme, an easy 3 points. But that's what we all thought, and that's what the Arsenal players thought. That's what the management thought. Just turn up. Like in test paper, when you take your tests, right? You just put your name on the paper.
You know what players thought it was, Ray?
What?
They thought it was one of Tony's "Who Gives a Fuck" games of a week.
That's the way
None of those players, bar 2 or 3 of them, gave a fuck about that game.
The Premier League is a tough mistress. She will teach you harsh lessons, and we've been dealt those lessons for three or 4 seasons now. We've come second 3 times, I believe. And, listen, for what it's worth, I'm one of those that's going to still believe, because we have only lost 3 games all season. We've drawn far too many games. And I'll go to Stan, since Tony left the mic. Stan, we've given our advantage.
I took the mic with me.
All right, Tony.
All right, well, I'll go to Stan anyway. Stan, we've given all of that advantage back to Manchester City. You know, the block of points that we were talking about.
Yeah, well, first of all, good evening, Ray. Good evening, Tony. Good evening to, I see BX is working the door. He's on time. Nice one. Hopefully there'll be some more coming in. So I'll give you the setup for me, right? Because it was lunchtime for me. I was at work. So I had it on in the background on the radio. But on my computer, I was doing work at my computer. I had a window open, which had the lineup and the score, and the minutes. So I could keep flicking back to that. And I saw that we, and I was listening as well. We scored the first one quite quickly.
Yep.
Okay.
Happy days.
That's not bad. And just as I was kind of thinking that and thinking, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been so pensive, because I was a little pensive going into this game. And the reason I say that is that, when we played them the last time, I thought that we looked under pressure when we played them last time. We didn't look comfortable. We got those 2 on goals, remember? The 2 on goals.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit cautious, but when we scored that first one, because it was quite early, I was like, okay. And even the commentators were kind of saying like, oh, it could be one of those nights, because obviously where Wolves are, propping up the Premier League, only having won 1 game in the league so far. You would think, on paper that it's going to be a given that Arsenal are gonna thump them. So just as I was thinking about that first goal, okay, this is a nice start. I didn't get too long to think about it because they equalised. The equaliser came quite quickly, right? And so I had to keep popping away from my desk and doing stuff. But I was away from my desk for quite some time, and I went back to my desk, and as I approached the mouse, because I was thinking to myself, it was 1-1, and we're on about now. I couldn't remember what the minute was. I looked, and it was 1-1, 85th minute, and I was like, 85th minute. I had to go away from my desk again. When I went back to my desk, I knew the final whistle had gone, but I hadn't seen the score anywhere. And as I walked towards my computer, I was like, okay, yes. I was nervous, and I was like, they better not have pulled one back, and it ends 2-1. And I clicked on the mouse, and the window opened, and I was just like gobsmacked.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you see Calafiori on goal, and you see the minute that it's in, and you're like, what happened now? What the hell happened now? Because I was, having to do stuff for that, and I wasn't constantly listening to the radio. I had to have it on low. I was just like, what I usually say on this channel, and I've said it many times, I always say that I understand that during the course of the season, Arsenal will lose games. Not going to win every single one. It just doesn't work like that, right? But for me, it's always about the manner of the loss, which is important. And the manner of that loss was to that team, for a team that's in our position and supposed to be trying to push for the big one. No, that wasn't the performance of champions.
Feels like a loss, but in fact, it was a 2-2 draw. But listen, it feels like one of the worst results of the season.
Well, no, it's one of the worst results in the history of the Premier League, because there is a unfortunate stat that no team at the bottom of the Premier League has played a team at the top of the Premier League and come back from 2 goals down. It's never happened before, ever.
Yeah,
it's never happened before, which tells you something. That's quite, it's never happened before. The Premier League's been around for a long time now.
Embarrassing, frustrating, keep coming back to embarrassing. All due respect to Wolverhampton Wanderers, they are a team who are going to fight all the way, but they kind of lulled this Arsenal team into this result, into playing slowly, and given the top versus the bottom, and the bottom half of the table should be your cannon fodder, should be the vast majority of the bread and butter of a Premier League champion building season. These are the points, these are the building blocks of a title race. And you've got to be able to win games away at Wolverhampton Wanderers before and along with, some results that are striking against the top 3 or 4 teams in the Premier League as well. But with all that being said, just frustrating, embarrassing, those 2 words I'm going to keep coming back to. Tony, I'll let you get in the door with some words. Go ahead, Tony.
I was watching Stan's cat's tail move about there.
Yeah.
But I never allow myself to get too high or too low about sports anymore. There's a million other things in the world going on. Like 150 miles west of me, all kinds of fires going on in Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado. People losing their homes and life. So, but plenty of else out there. We do this for entertainment, punishment. I don't know. I think we're all into S&M at this point.
Cathartic.
I'm ready to stand to come in the room dressed as Vigim from Pulp Fiction.
It's where Tony's mind is at. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I remember, because this kept coming up like 4 or 5 years ago, when we were talk about like what song represents Arsenal, and it's like I love you, but I don't know why it kept coming in there, and now that's starting to creep back into my head, because it's like we're in for punishment. No matter how good of a team you feel. And one thing that I've heard nobody talk about, there's something that happened with all these draws in the league lately. We had the clear of error talks, and it seems like all that did was fog up the room, because since then it hasn't been pretty on the pitch. Hasn't been pretty off the pitch. You're hearing that Odegaard wants out of a team, that Rice is a be captain, that Arteta's a get fired if he doesn't win the Premier League or the Champions League. He has to win one or the other, or he's gone. All this is coming out. So, they're chaos. There's people that are pissed off, players, coaches. So, but ever since those clear of air talks, we've been terrible in the league.
Yeah. Okay. We will give you credit for that really great line there. Stan and I were really impress Tony with that
Good
one.
allegory.
That was good. That was good. That was top notch, right? On a night like tonight, we needed something like that. Stan, we can dig into that a little bit. Tony's referencing maybe some discourse within the camp.
I don't know about that. I don't know about discourse. You know, players are re-signing contracts. Nobody seems to be in a hurry to get away. We talked about Martin Odegaard. I think is just clickbait with that man. I mean, why would Martin Odegaard want to get away from Arsenal? He's not even been available to play. It's not like he's not being picked. He's been injured a lot, and we've been taking care of him. And I think that's the last thing on his mind. He's a captain of Arsenal. I don't think that you know there's some sort of a problem in it. I don't believe that. Players are signing. Players want to be a part of it. But I think that I think for me the main. If you was to sum up, if you was to ask me to say like, how could I tell you what Arsenal's problem is at the moment in just one word? And I think also that it's the same word. What I think when fans go, I'm really frustrated, or I'm really angry. I think what they really are trying to say is that the word is anxious. There's a lot of anxiety, which I think comes from the top of the club all the way down to the fans. It's there seems to be anxiety at the ownership level, you know, because they've made sure that there's been funds available for the team. So you're going to be anxious about a return on that investment, right? The competition, you've got a portfolio of winners in your portfolio for your other sports teams. They're all winners. You know, you want to complete the set. So you've got anxiety there. And then it seems to me as well that I think there's definitely anxiety in the manager and his team, because they're all constantly out of their seats trying to direct traffic or land an aircraft, which to me shows anxiety. And I think if it's happening at that level, then it's only going to be natural that trickles down into the actual plane staff. They've got anxiety all around them. And then you've got on top of that, on the other end of the sandwich, you've got us, the fans, who have our anxiety because we've seen ourselves come so close. It wasn't so long ago that we lost the season on the last day.
Yeah.
By a point. And fans seem to be more angry now than they were then. And maybe it was because it wasn't expected then, right? The squad was smaller. But for me, one of the reasons why I got sucked into it so much this season, because I'm usually quite conservative when I start to say where I think we're going to be, but I always felt that what our handicap was not having enough squad-wise. And we seemed to have addressed that. Everybody's been applauding when the transfer market was done, the business that we did. So I can understand the anxiety, right? Because now you're looking at it and thinking that we've got this bigger squad, but we're still having problems. If it's not injuries, it's some players not even being able to get minutes. When other players are running, it looks like other players have been running to the ground, which we thought Mikel Arteta had learnt from. Now it seems other players, it's moved around. It's not, some players aren't getting run to the ground now, but some others are. And you're looking at the bench and there's actual adequate backup that you could bring on. I don't think there's a world of difference between between Norgard and Zubamendi.
Okay.
I'm talking about, you know what I mean? It's not like two, you know what I mean? You could bring someone in for 20 minutes near an end of the game, the right game set. And I'm also thinking as well that I don't think there's a huge gulf in difference quality-wise between Timber and Ben White.
Yeah.
Even though they may play the game stylistically different.
Certainly good enough for Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home, you would think.
You're still in a position where if you've got Timber on the pitch who's running off a bad tackle and playing on, and then towards the last 20 minutes you can see that they've given everything now. Passes aren't working now.
Passing was wrong.
And you can look at the bench and you see that you've got Ben White there. That's not like a huge drop off, is it? Right. Ben White, was a starter for quite a while.
Yeah.
Right? And he's got a lot of good traits, but that's not happening. And then you think to yourself, well, why is that?
The likes of Ben
Why
White,
not?
Norgard.
You could have even bought a Mosquera if you didn't want to go with Ben White for the last 20 minutes or so, rather than have Timber no longer being able to be a contribution, right?
Yeah. On Tony.
I think Norgard's one of the most confusing ones this year because he has the experience of a Premier League. Rice could use a rest. Zubamendi could use a rest, even though he looks like he has a hell of an engine and really doesn't need to be put in the garage and have a fluid checked and all that. He's ready to keep on rolling, it seems like. But
And again, looking at our size of our squad, sorry, Tom, I was going to say the size of our squad, we should be able to put out any team and still be able to get a result against Wolves. That's how bad they've been this season. And that's how bad they were in the game. They were terrible in that game.
Yes.
That's why I think we overstretched on what we did on the weekend in the FA Cup. I think a lot of players could have just stayed home and not made the trip.
Here's the other thing. You play an FA Cup game, and we can go into that briefly. It's great that we've gone through 2 rounds of the FA Cup. We're into the last
first time in 6 years.
Yeah, we're into the last 16 of that competition. That's a great thing, but the team we played was a very, very poor team, and we've gotten a great draw as well, Tony. So, for all intents and purposes, call Arsenal quarterfinalists so far of the FA Cup, because yes, we should be Maidenstone or Maidenhead, whatever they are. But
how many places are they by this? Because the other one was
many.
Other one was 67 was what happened.
I see some comments coming through on my phone here on the feed on YouTube, but they're not showing up here yet. In the chat box that I can highlight them. But my point is, Tony, we play Eberici Eze so we can build up his confidence, so we can get him going again, and he creates 2 assists in that game. We win the game 5-0 or whatever it is, 4-0, right? We walk the game. And what do we do? What do we do against Wolverhampton Wanderers? We don't follow up the warm-up for Eze in particular, and we don't follow up with starting him in this game. Why? What's going on with the likes of Norgard, with the likes of White, as we've mentioned, with the likes of Eberici Eze, who we played in the FA Cup game, to get him moving, get him going? Yes, several levels down from Wolverhampton Wanderers, but you would think it's almost like a behind-the-scenes closed doors warm-up game for Eberici Eze to get going again and to feel confident. And here we are. We wait till the last 30 minutes we throw him on. Again, the allocation of the resources may be questionable as well.
And he did come very close to getting the goal. I was so hoping he'd get one.
Right at the end.
I was hoping that would fire him on the rest of the season. But
yeah. He looks a pale shadow of the player, and we have a North London derby coming up on Sunday. He looks like a pale shadow of the player that played at the Emirates and destroyed Tottenham.
Looks like a chicken with its wings cooked.
Yeah. So, Stan, you had a couple of.
You said you were talking about. I just wanted to. What you were saying about Eze there, and you were saying, why is that?
Yeah.
And I think it's, to me, it's quite obvious that Mikel doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
And Mikel does seem to be, maybe I'm wrong, just from my opinion is that he seems to be one of those where you got to get his trust, and there's like a circle of trust, and maybe Ben White and Eze, they're not in that at the minute. They're not in that circle of trust at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe Norgard isn't, and what little I have seen of Norgard, going back to him, he hasn't looked out of place. He came in and helped out at centre back when it was needed. Remember?
Yep.
He made a nice assist. He's very good on the pass.
Yes.
But for whatever reason, you know, there's other players that are getting run into the ground a little bit. Zubimendi, you know, you could think, okay, he's had enough now. We can take him off. But no, you know, he gets run into the ground. So, you know, and I think that's a problem with Eze, is that for whatever reason, you know, sometimes you used to hear in the old days, or it's like, for example, they say about Patrick Vieira, they said he was a really poor trainer, trained really badly during the week, you know.
Yeah.
But you'd play him on the Saturday, and he'd be like one of the best players on the pitch. Maybe if you're a bad trainer these days, that means you don't get in the team in some manner. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's some managers may have that consequence. It doesn't matter how good you are; you've got to train and be as good as put in the effort like everybody else. Or I don't know what it might be. I'm not saying they're not putting the effort, but for whatever reason, maybe it's that. I don't know.
I think it's.
I don't know.
I know for me in sports, it's like sometimes you just want to put it on top gear when you're practicing or training or whatever, but when you're out there when things really matter, you switch into another gear. And it seems like Arteta should recognize that. He's been around the sport long enough to know the different type of personalities you're going to come across, and some of them just need the trust that if you put them out during game time, they're going to do what they need to do. And that's kind of what Trossard did when Bucharest was struggling, and then things started clicking along there, and then the injury to Bucharest came along. But I mean, that's why Trossard's out there, because of his vision and stuff. Then I was reading today about Odegaard, how they had a helmet on him, and he had to put it on a harder mode because he was getting the information. He was reacting so fast it was too easy for him. So now it's called Odegaard mode on the training simulation.
Yeah. That you make a good point. It was either Stan or Tony just talking about this. The man management part of Mikel Arteta seems to be still there, in terms of the man management is not very good. Understanding what kind of character you have in your camp, and understanding if that one needs to kick up the arse, or if you need an arm around the shoulders. You know what I mean? Different players have different characters and different constructions in their psyche. You know, I don't think Mikel Arteta. I think he just puts them out on the field, expects them to perform at a high level. Somebody like Eze might need their arm around them and say, "Listen, I value what you can bring to the squad, and you're going to have your time." You know, BX said, "I don't think Arteta can get it done, but the alternative is much worse. We have to get over the line," and that's part of the anxiety, right? As Stan has talked about, the fans, us fans, we've waited. You know, in fever pitch with Colin Firth, we've all seen that. He goes on a rant. It's been 18 years. Well, you know, we could have a similar rant where, you know, it's 22, 23 years now. And Arsenal fans have seen it.
Anxious, right? It's
anxiety. We've come close.
Well, we're not sneaking up to win it. We've put ourselves out there, right? That's what we've done. You know, the way that we've gone about it, we really put ourselves out there, and it's almost like everybody's watching for it.
And the rival fans are watching.
Even though for, you know, the first part of the season, if you watched any sort of punditry, they'd always be like, Arsenal are the ones that are going to win it. Arsenal ones are going to win it. But you know that they can't wait to get to a situation where we can't, because you know how it goes, right? You know, we're not a club that I think has a neutral following. Some clubs do. I think we had a little bit of that under Wenger, and the reason that we don't have it now, because we're not playing attractive football. So why would you have neutrals?
Yeah.
It can be, you know, so they're like, oh, don't know, you know, even though we might get results, so we don't have any neutrals.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Under Arsene Wenger, we played attractive football, so we did attract fans to our brand of football. Now you
worldwide, worldwide too, especially
worldwide and French.
You'd meet someone, maybe you'd be at a party or you'd be introduced to someone, and they go, "Oh, do you like football?" And you go, "Hey, who do you support?" And they're like, "Maybe I don't know, Leicester." What about you? You got Arsenal, and they go, "Oh right, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do like watching Arsenal. They play a lot of good football." I used to get that comment quite a lot. It was like, you don't get that now.
No.
Now they just go. Now they just go. I hope you lose the league. We hope you lose.
So we were that team under Arteta 3 or 4 seasons ago where we were attracted to, we were playing fast football, and Arteta found that maybe we needed to be a little bit more defensively solid. Well, he's gone a little bit far in that direction in recent seasons as well. The anxiety comes from the fact that we were maybe in the previous years when we came second the last 3 seasons, we all knew the deficiencies in our squad. If we had a few injuries here or there, it wasn't going to happen. You know, if we went to Man City and play at the Etihad with Rob Holding and whoever else was on the pitch that night, you know you're not going to win the league going to the Etihad and playing players like Rob Holding. This season,
Tony.
Sorry, Tony, cover your ears. And Callum Chambers. But this season, under Andrea Berta, they filled the holes this season, and I'm still hanging in there. I'm one of those like this is a blip.
Oh,
this is temporary.
We're looking at this game in what it is, and the man, as I say, the manner of the loss was terrible, and it's been coming. You know, I mean, our superpower was supposed to be defending.
Still a draw, 2-2.
Yeah, but our superpower was supposed to be defending, and if you look at the goals that we've shipped lately, that superpower that was, I said that between us and Man City winning the league, I said if Man City win the league, it will be because of the attacking part of their game, which will be enough to get them over. I said if Arsenal win it, it won't be because of the attacking part of our game. It will be the defensive part of our game, which will help us to keep, the lead that we had. We're building up a nice lead, right? A nice cushion. Yeah. At one point, we were like 3 games ahead, like 9 points. Now, if we could keep doing that, but that seems to now is failing. The superpower that was ours, there seems to be a problem. And yes, I know a lot of people are talking about the attacking part of our game, but you have to notice that the defensive part, over the last 6 games maybe, has looked not as good as it could have been in places when it should be important.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is that the anxiety again?
The anxiety. Listen, in extreme circumstances, you can see some cracks in any team, right? So you saw that right at the end with the equalizer. For me, why the hell was Gabriel backing into Raya so deep in that 6-yard box? For me also, David Raya has to be more commanding of his area. He has to knock Gabriel over like a truck hitting him.
To me, it looked like Gabriel was just protecting the line and just.
Yeah, but it was a nothing.
Didn't have a communication from Ray to say get the fuck out of my way.
Nothing ball. It was really a nothing ball that comes in. There's no attacker there. Gabriel's backing in, and David Raya is coming forward. So maybe David Raya's got to go with everything, or he's got to let Gabriel deal with it.
Because it looked like Gabriel was just chested down, and
he was heading it. Gabriel was heading it 100%. Ridiculous. And with all that being said, Calafiori almost deflects it out wide for wide. We almost got away with it as well. I felt bad for Calafiori. He's the one that the OG is going to go against.
Just talking about David Raya, I mean, I'm a fan of David Raya. I mean, he's won the Golden Glove in the league 2 seasons in a row. So you have to rate him as a goalkeeper. I do feel though that he's better at saving within the penalty box than he is at long shots. You know, and maybe if you are looking for a weakness, that is it, and maybe that could be attributed because of he's not the tallest guy in the world, right?
No.
However,
do you
like
think
the goalkeeper.
Do you think part of that stand is that Arteta wants him to be playing out from the back, and he goes out there and attacks the ball instead of just staying back where he should and feels more comfortable at?
I don't like it when we constantly sometimes play at the back. It does jar me because I do think sometimes you're bringing unnecessary pressure onto the not only the defence but the keeper sometimes, and I don't like that. I mean, sometimes it only kicks it out to a right or a left back, and there's not enough on it, and the receiver isn't there, and someone nips in, and before you know it, you've got a one-on-one, and it's a goal. It does my head in. But something that he is good at doing, when he kicks the ball out, he does find his man a lot on the wings. He's quite good at his distribution, I've noticed. You know?
Yeah, and that's been some of our best offensive games is when we've done the long balls, when we switch it up instead of
move faster,
playing it slow out of the back and think you just because most of the time we got plenty of height all around the team. There's only a few midgets out there like Trossard.
Yeah, we've got height in the team where it needs to be. You know. So Gabriel and David Raya, that was definitely not a good moment for me. David Raya's got to clean everything out. Both goalkeepers back in the day, David Seaman would have punched Gabriel's head off to get that ball away. He would have went right through him.
Jens Lehmann.
That's what I was thinking. What would Lehmann do?
Yeah. And even some goalkeepers we wouldn't have liked because they played for other teams would have done the same thing, you know. Wow. Peter Schmeichel.
Lehmann might have went Karate Kid and swept the leg.
That in recent weeks we've seen Declan Rice shouting at players on the pitch as well. You know, I think Declan Rice sees clearly that we're not playing well and certain players are not doing things correctly for him. You're seeing that on the pitch, right, Stan?
I did watch the game back, even after the thing at work. But for me, with Declan Rice, is that it's all well and good doing that, but I also want to see, okay, then do it as well. You do it. You be the one that takes it by the scruff of the neck and make something happen.
He had a shot right after the first goal, and it went wide. You know,
and for me, I kind of like saying that. You know, at the end of the game, when the players go into the dressing room, some people will be thinking, well, I hope the manager gave them a rocket for that performance. But then, to me, sometimes it's like, well, who's giving the manager a rocket when someone that needs to shoulder a lot for that performance is the manager?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, and you're going to go in and give everyone a rocket. How'd you do that?
Yeah.
How do you play that, right?
Like, I wrote in my notes tonight for this show. Do you remember...
Can I say as well, his post-match interview, I never seen him look like that before. His whole that he had that real glassy-eyed, really like he looked quite meek. He kind of looked like someone that had just come home from a busy day at the office and found his missus in bed with the milkman, and then he's got to come out and do this interview, and he's still like, do you know what I mean?
And his press conference was a little bit like, okay, we have to take it. We were bad. We played badly. We got a bad result. We have to take it on the chin. We have to take the shots and absorb them. And that's sort of a message. That's a message for Sunday, you know. And for me, you messed up. Those Arsenal players and the manager messed up on Wednesday, so they better fix it on Sunday. But it seems like I'm always saying this. Seems like I'm always saying the next game, they're going to fix it. The next game.
You know, what was your feelings on the change in the formation? Because Saka now playing in the middle, and I remember I sent you a message
Yeah.
the other day,
Yeah.
and if you remember,
Yeah.
I think it was either not last season, but the season before, we were talking about Saka. I don't know if you remember this, Tony. I reminded Ray that when we were talking about Saka, I did say that I felt that he had a future, perhaps transitioning his role in a more central attacking midfielder role.
Yeah.
I felt that he built for it. I think I even mentioned something like Clarence Seedorf, and I felt that he has the technique with the ball for it. So I was quite pleased to see that. And then obviously, you know, in that first 45 minutes when he played in that role, he looked good. So why wouldn't you not then go with that again? And there's two schools of thought, because some people have been going, why are you tinkering around with the team? We're trying to win a championship. You should know who your best 11 are. It's February. You shouldn't be, you know, why are you putting one of our best players here and doing that? But then my argument is this. It's been obvious for a while that something's been missing in our attacking play. We've all been talking about it. So do you rather him to continue with that, or do you want him to make a change like he did? Because him making that change to me shows me that he's acknowledging it. He knows that that isn't working, but he's not just going to sit on his hands.
Yeah.
And you know, even though the performance today, you know, on the whole was bad, I think Saka is one of the players that comes out of this a lot better, as I do with Henkape as well. I think they're the two players that come out of this without so much of a bollocking. And Saka does look like he can be quite handy in that position. And I think one of the main reasons why he's doing it is, I think we talked about this circle of trust. It's obvious that the manager likes Madueke.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably thinking to himself, you know, Madueke does have a lot. You know, his when he gets the ball, his first thought is not to kick it backwards or to kick it sideways. He does want to go forward and try and make something happen. And he's probably thinking, well, I don't want to leave Saka out. How can I leave Saka out? I think Saka can, you know, we can do it this way. So I can get them both in the team. And Saka did look good in that first 45 minutes in the other game. So why wouldn't you go with it again?
As you said to me, as you said to me, this, I think it's a good idea to put Saka centrally, and Madueke has been one of our, at least in recent games, one of our better forward players. And I was like, okay, I can go with that. Madueke and Saka on the field over maybe Odegaard or an essay. You don't know what you're getting. And yeah, it was my point to you. Why are we experimenting now in February when we have a Premier League to win, basically? Why are we doing that? But I do see the benefit of I did feel that because I had a thought that Bukayo Saka would score in this game, and that he would come back, because it'd been something like 15 games without a goal. Again, good work on the left hand side with Trossard. Maybe it was Martinelli getting the ball, feeding it back to Declan Rice, and you know, eyes maybe on Gyökeres. Defenders looking at Gyökeres, and Saka's able to steal in front of the goalkeeper and nod the first goal into the net. Shout out to Tiger and Gunnar, who's joined as well. But yeah, Tony, what are your thoughts on that? The little shift within the team, bringing Madueke and Saka into the forward line.
Yeah. Me and Stan have talked about it before. We talked about how winger won't be his last position. I always thought he'll eventually end up being a striker, but I think being an attacking midfielder is the next thing he needs to do. He's still 24, plenty of time to develop that final touch, and he can hold up the ball if he needs to as well.
Yeah.
So
Find space whenever he needs to.
But I think, I think Arteta's been thinking about it for a while, because it's about 6 games ago now that we first went back to this 4-2-3-1. where you have a striker a little bit above the rest of the guys, and you're actually playing with an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
That's why Eze should be doing better. Odegaard should be doing better. And Kai did good when his 2 games before he decided to go hurt himself again. But it suits the players, and at this point, he has to play what suits the players. He can't be stubborn and go for what he wants. You have to use your tools.
Yeah.
And you can look at the front and see what you have. You see that Trossard has a vision. You see that Bucharest can make the runs. You see that Saka basically can do all of it. He just has to have a belief and a little bit more confidence and taking a shot. And the main thing is Arteta has to take off a handbrake, stop micromanaging it, and just let those guys go out there and play. And that's kind of what you get from that away. It looks like as he's playing with the handbrake on. But it's like we've always seen this with Arteta. He just favors a certain guys, and I think it comes to what he sees in training instead of what happens during the games. But at this point, it's time to put all your cards out there.
Yeah.
And I thought the FA Cup game was a perfect game to experiment with your formations and lineups. And I really don't want to hear anything about injuries and making use of a team because you have 5 subs now. Wenger had 3, a lot worse squads, a lot more injury prone. You had Diaby, Rosicky, you had Wilshire, all at the same time. Then you had Carzola. You had like 5.
Aaron Ramsey.
You had 5 attacking midfielders that couldn't get out on the pitch because they're all in the medical room.
We've always had a busy treatment room, to be fair, innit? Since I can remember, always seems to be quite busy for us, you know.
Yeah.
Like the only time it wasn't is like they got that different trainer in when Emery came in, and those guys in 95th minute you couldn't tell the difference of what they looked like in the first minute because it looked like they could go and go until that second season. Then everybody was gassed after 50 minutes when Arteta came in. Those guys couldn't give you 60 minutes.
Tiger and Gunnar said Jack Wheelchair.
Yeah.
Wheelchair.
I mean, it's criminal with 5 subs that you're still having these injuries. That's why I still want to know what's going on in the damn training because it has to be training because you're getting more and more of these in warm-up injuries. You used to never have
5 players
those.
injured in the warm-up so far. 5. That's never happened before.
For the season.
Yeah, so far 5. We've had 5 players.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
That's
unheard of.
Because I remember it being like,
what the fuck are they doing in the warm-up? Fucking triathlon.
They need to look into that. Seriously, they need to look into that. Yeah.
Because it used to be like you'd get one of those every couple of years that somebody would do themselves in on warm-up.
Yeah. I mean, it's we have the squad, but it does seem like we're rotating through players now, and we really would need a player like Kai Havertz to get back to full fitness soon.
But the thing about the rotation, right, and it's been my criticism from the very start from these cup games the last 4 or 5 years, it's like you'll start with five starters, you'll have 6 subs, but by the end of the game, you have all your starters in there.
Yeah.
But you have to have your starters not make the train, not make a trip, or just stay up in the
Sit at home,
stands when they
drink
play at
cocoa.
home. I mean, there's no reason some of those players played on the weekend.
Yeah.
67
Huh.
positions. And that's why I said I don't give a fuck about the cups because they don't matter.
Well, I got a proposal.
And you can tell, Ray, by the outrage of the fans, or really not outrage, but basically everybody's hurt, frustrated, nervous because we've seen this picture, we've been waiting on it. On paper, we got the team. It should been a cakewalk
Yeah.
for Arsenal
Well,
this
yeah.
year. Because you look from fourth to 14th, 15th, there hardly anything in it. All those teams are pretty shit. You only have three good teams in the entire league.
Yep.
And
I definitely agree with you. Definitely agree.
It's
With
just,
you. I do have a, since you mentioned the cups, I do have a proposal, okay, that I saw. You have the I'll give you the two cups right now, Tony. I'll guarantee you the two cups right now. Will you sign up for that this season, or would you let it roll?
next window, please. Door number 2.
Door number 2. Stan, I'll give you both cups right now. You can have a parade.
Ray, I
Yeah.
have to stop you here. I think I asked Stan if he would take all three the 2 cups and the league, or the Champions League, and he had a really hard time answering that one.
No, if you remember, I actually said, I posted I gave you guys a scenario where I said, what happens if we finish second in the Premier League? We get to a Champions League final.
Yeah.
We don't win it.
Yeah.
We win the League Cup and we win the FA Cup. That was the scenario that I said to you guys, if you remember.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I asked you. I think my question
cups,
might have came from the same thing.
They might not be the ones that you want, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, but right now, I'm just saying right now, and Tony said he's going to keep it moving, right? He's not taking the deal. Stan, I can guarantee you that you're going to win 2 cups. Do you take that now, or do you let the season play out the way it is right now?
Well, I don't know what those 2 cups are going to be, but of course I'm going to take it.
The Carabao Cup and the FA Cup.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Cups.
I'll take it because nothing is guaranteed, right? And that's why, as much as I thought that the manner of the loss at Wolves was really bad, and that disappoints me, and you have to ask a lot, and we're here to do a podcast and you ask questions. I still think that we still have our destiny in our own hands. As little as the lead is, we still have a lead.
Yeah.
When we won the league at Anfield, we didn't go there with loads of points ahead. We had to go there and do a certain thing and play a certain way and get a certain result. And it happened. So you can't write it off now. You can be disappointed. You can have anxiety, and I understand that. But I do think, as I said earlier, that comes down from the top. The owners are anxious. The money they've invested, portfolio full of winners, except Arsenal. Management are anxious. Mikel's been doing this for 6 years. He's had his backing, his money. He brought in Big Bertha. They want to make sure that their investments. It's always anxiety, right? They want to win. Then that must permeate down to the players.
Yeah. And
I think that I'm repeating myself, but some of you who may have just joined, I think that then seeps out into the fan base. We can feel it from them. We can feel the anxiety makes us anxious as well.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to say as well, I do think that I'm not telling anyone how to support the team, right? You do that how you want, but I don't see the point now. So, for example, I'll give you an example. I saw someone do a post where it said players that I want gone now, and they listed about 4, maybe 5 players, right? And I thought, just think to myself, you may have that opinion, and that's fine, But what good does it do anyone putting it out there now when we're still in the running in the competitions? Isn't it better to wait and see where we end up? And then if you're not happy about that end result, then you can say, well, this is what I want to see done. This is what I'm not happy about. But I don't understand what doing it now does, right? Because this isn't like the old days where the only information that you used to get was on the back of the newspaper. Now, it's all about these, right? And everyone's got it. Everyone's got it. And
well, I was going to mention,
you have to think that players are seeing what's being said, right?
Yeah.
So how does that? If you've got a team that's only we've lost our points lead, it's narrowed. We're now, was it 5 points ahead?
Yeah.
With a game ahead, we've played more games. They've got another team behind us has a game in hand.
Yeah.
No matter what we think, we should be wanting this to happen. And if we've got to play our part, I think our part is to be a supporter. Support it, right?
That's the name of the game.
I get it. You can be fucking pissed off at certain players and whatever and that, but I just think that there should be some sort of a united front, because we ain't going to get that. As I said earlier, we ain't getting it from other clubs. It's just us.
Yeah.
It's only us. No one else wants us to win it. There are supporters out there, right, that would rather Man City win it than us. Man City, who've been winning it for years and years and years. And when they were winning it, were pissed off about it. Now, because it's us, they'd rather have them win it. The team that is like still yet to be charged for 115 crimes in the game.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing's been proven yet, but they'd rather have that team beat us. That's where we are. So we've only got ourselves. So I just think that if you can't say nothing nice, don't say anything. Yeah, we can have these.
And you're right.
We can have
you're
these, right. But you know, it's out there, right? Where especially if you're at them, or I just don't see how it helps. Don't you want them to win? If they don't win and then we win nothing and you're fucking fuming, then go for it.
And you're right, Stan. We all have these now, these phones where you have instant keyboard access to anything you want to say. Imagine you referenced 1989 when we went to Anfield and won the league championship at the time. We were 18 points ahead of Liverpool at points in that season, I think January, February. And going into the last week, we only picked up 1 point of the last two games before we played the last game at Anfield. And we had no right to think that we were going to go and win that game at Anfield because of the way that they were playing. But the point being, the what do we call it? This the nerves or the anxiety of the fan base would have been very much shown in 1989 if they had all of the social media that they had. That
I'm not saying you can't show your displeasure. You can't, there's nothing wrong with saying like such and such had a poor game today. That passing was so off. Yeah, the player will probably agree with you. But you know what I mean? If you've only just come to the club and you see someone saying like, get out of my club, it doesn't make you feel like welcome. It's going to make you feel a bit nervous.
And
just using that as an example. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that you can't be critical, because there's a lot to criticize.
Yeah. They hate BX Gunner says they hate Martinelli's gotten in last 24 hours disgraceful. And Tiger was like, I have to watch it the next day to see if Arsenal had won. He had to watch it the next day to see if Arsenal won because it was late at night.
But just use Martinelli as an example there. There's nothing wrong with saying, having the discussion, for example, why has he only scored one goal in the league, but in the Champions League scored like something like 6 and 7? Why is that? What does that mean? Why can't that be replicated? But just saying like he's fucking shit, I hope he fucking gets sold tomorrow. I just don't see how that helps him now to the end of the season when we're still in the driving seat. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
But going back to your question on,
we are still in it. We are still in it.
Yeah. I wondered where.
Even when we get to the stage, right? Let's say we get to a stage before the season ends, and it becomes mathematically, like that we can't win the league. but we're still in other competitions. Shouldn't we still hold our breath for a little bit longer to see those competitions out rather than go piling straight in?
Yeah.
And we've got a fucking final coming up in the Champions League, and we're fucking destroying ourselves now. I know we will be disappointed, but what I'm saying is, if we still find ourselves in that situation, you've got to see the job through.
Yeah, and the Champions League, I think, goes
and
to
the job ends right this season when we've got no more games to play, because then you can look back and you can say, right, this is where we are with this. Do you know what I mean? This fixture here, total shambles. Why are we still doing that? These substitutions here, what are you doing? Why? Do you know what I mean? You can really tear into it. This player, I'm sorry, I don't want to see him no more. You got your right to say that, right? Because you know, you can show your displeasure.
Yeah.
But we ain't at that stage yet. As disappointing as it is, and the lead should be bigger. We should have more of a cushion. We're still in the driving seat, so why are we trying to make it even difficult?
I still go back to the game at Anfield that Man City played 2 weekends ago, maybe, where listen. A lot of us were adding up the points for Arsenal. That's it. We're gonna be 9 points clear. Man City are losing at Liverpool, and they were able to turn that game around very, very luckily. And on the other side of the ledger, Arsenal dropped points against Brentford. What was a tough game?
Isn't it something like we've taken 10 points in the last 21 games? Is that right?
Something very, very poor like
9 points? I think it might be 10. But again, does that seem like a team that's going to win the championship? When you look at it like that, you think, what's going on there?
Two wins, 4 draws, and 1 loss in the last 7. And
goals in. We weren't supposed to let those goals in. Those draws mean that we're letting goals in. And if we haven't got that attacking prowess, that Man City has, we're supposed to have that defensive part locked down.
Yeah, a couple of 0-0s, the one against Liverpool, the one against Nottingham Forest hurt us as well. Conceding against Brentford, this was a position where we were leading and they didn't hold on. Again, we're in a position where we're leading, Tony. We didn't hold on against Wolves. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Re-ask me the question here in a second. But with one thing, with what you asked, if you would take the cups, one reason I say no is the job that Berta's did in the summer. He went the extra mile. It's like here in the States, every once in a while you would get an A+ on a paper, but the teacher thought you would do so good, so you'd get a ++, or you would get 3 gold stars instead of 1, or whatever. I mean, he went above and beyond. We've been building this steel curtain of a defense for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Probably close to $750 million that we've spent. And a lot of those players already came and went. Especially with goalkeepers, especially a shitload of left backs. But there's no excuse for the business that Berta did, the quality of players we have to not have a bigger league, to let City back into it, going from a 10-point gap to a 4-point gap, 1-point gap if they win their game in hand, and it shouldn't be that close. And going to the game, I know you won't hear somebody say this, but us dicking around on the fucking throw-in cost us the goddamn game. If you just threw the fucking ball in, instead you have to have 3 players go out there. Oh no, Rice, I'm not going to throw it in. Oh, you throw it in.
Was this the corner or was it the throw-in?
This was the throw-in. Nobody would take the fucking throw-in.
Yeah. I always feel
it took 1 minute to throw a ball in, right?
Yeah, I think it was a corner, but anyway.
No, it
And
was
the
a throw-in.
commentators, and to lend to Stan's argument about the media, the commentators clocked Arsenal at 1 minute time wasting. No
Yep.
other team gets this kind of scrutiny.
Scrutiny.
No other team gets this kind of scrutiny in a game.
But
They
it was blatant though, and it cost us.
and the start of the game was great. I had John Champion, I think it was, and Graham Lasso. I was watching them, and they were almost setting the scene. Could this be? We know Arsenal could win, but is there a possibility Wolves could do something? And shame on Arsenal to let this happen as well. You know, I always feel, Stan, and I always said this because at the Emirates, a lot of teams come to the Emirates and they waste time, and in the end, there's 5 or 6 minutes extra time, and Arsenal come up with the goal. We've done that in previous seasons. Every season you're going to have a goal against you in injury time or out of time, and every season you're going to score a goal, and you're going to feel that euphoria, and you're going to feel the huge drop off of disappointment. Time
But you
wasting.
I think that
Time wasting is
you
not.
just don't really want to see your team doing that against a team like Wolves. You don't want to have players like Eze on the edge of the box going down and looking for a free kick, rather than trying to make something happen. What's that all
Yeah.
about? What is
Yeah.
that all about? Do you know what I mean? It's things like that, and you're thinking, what's that all about? Do something, make something happen, have a go. Don't go down looking for like weak free kicks. We shouldn't be in that position. Surely we're past that.
Yeah, I have my notes here. Watching the game tonight. Watched it on rerun like you did as well, Stan. Tony probably watched it live. Notes say
Yep.
no tempo, no output, no winning challenges, not acceptable. There was a lethargic display from Arsenal, and yeah, it was snowing, it was cold, it was wet, but what's the old cliche? You got to go to a cold night. Go to Wolverhampton Wanderers on a cold
Yeah.
night, on a cold Wednesday night, and you got to win those games.
Yeah, but and this ain't like a non-league pub team. These players are paid a lot of money to do that. A lot of money.
Yeah.
We've got big players in this team, man.
Yeah.
And we might talk a little bit more about the attacking, but as much as I like Gabriel Jesus, and he can score a goal, the consistency, and you are reminded, especially today, of why Mikel felt that, even though he had Havertz and Gabriel in the team, why we needed to go out and spend money on something more in that position. And it wasn't a case of, well, I need a third one. These two are good. That means I can go out and buy a kid, a prospect to learn, because I've got these two, right? Or bring someone up, promote someone from the youth team. He went out and bought the next thing, the next level. That's what we were paying for, right? And now we're in a situation where we're going back to the old world. That hasn't worked for whatever reason. I'm not, I mean, we've had that debate before, but I would say that all of the attacking signings that we've made, and I would say that would be Gyökeres, Eze, and
Madueke.
And who?
Madueke.
And Noni. Sorry, I was thinking of Noni. I was trying to get Noni. Yeah, it hasn't looked like. It hasn't looked consistent. Hasn't really looked. It looks underwhelming, right? And we paid good money for them.
Hasn't looked like a championship-winning effort, right?
None of them were like £25 million players.
Yeah,
you're like, okay, we paid good money, and obviously Mikel must see something in Noni, because it's not a case of right, Saka's out, I've got to play Noni. Saka's back, and he's like, I still want to keep Noni in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he'd be like, "See you later, mate. You're gone. Thanks, but
you don't usually see those things happening." That's
he's thinking to himself, "I still want him in," and I think the problem that we had, one of the problems with the attack, the front four that he chose, Saka's the only one who is the creative one, because you've got two wingers that are runners. They both are runners and shooters. If you're going to have Saka in that role and play Gyökeres, and you want to play Madueke, then on the left-hand side, you have to play Trossard.
Yeah.
Because you need to have two
Provided-
runners. You can't have 3 runners and 1 creative guy. You have to have at least 2 creative, right? And Trossard is going to give you that.
Yeah, 2 and
as
2.
well. If everybody's fit, that is, right. That's what
Yeah.
I think. And I'm not a coach, but I just think that didn't help. But again, this is Wolves. We should be able to put out basically, anyone there and still get something out of it. Because remember, we've done all the hard work. We got ourselves 2 goals ahead. We weren't like they were playing really good football and they went 1-0 up and we had to come back and we drew. Got 1-1, and it wasn't like it was a hard-fought point away from home. If you look back in the record books, 2-2 away from home. That's not bad. You got a point there. But if you actually look at what went on, Wolves are playing shit.
Yeah.
No disrespect. They weren't like having a playing out of their skins, and we were like, whoa. It was there for the taking. It was there for the taking. We'd already done the hard work, and when you get to 2-2, right? You've got one of 2 things you can do at that point, I think. You can either go, right, I'm going to look up shop now, and that is it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do a Gandalf. You shall not pass. You might maybe even make a substitution to make it more defensive if you're confident you can do that. Or you can go the other way when you're 2-0 up and go, right, let's really put them to the sword and get that 3rd one. It's one of 2 things that you're going to do, right? And when I watched it back, what I thought to myself was, when they scored that 2nd one, we did neither. I didn't see us try to do either of those things. Either try to go look up shop or go, right, now we're going to really put our foot on the neck.
Yeah.
And get a 3rd one. We seem to just stay in this kind of limbo.
Stasis.
We never committed to one or the other.
I think we did before that because we put Calafiori on there just a few minutes before, and we know Arteta uses him basically as an extra left-sided midfielder.
Exactly. I was saying he doesn't come on to defend though, does he? Right? It's like, where was he actually playing, Calafiori? Tell me what position he was playing in, because I couldn't see where he actually was playing.
He
plays like a player that knows that his position is under threat.
He was like a center attacking player. He was.
Henkiape is for that left back position. Henkiape is giving him a good run for his money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Fury had it locked down for a while, but he's got competition now, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets that position back. And part of that is going to be part of it's going to be, are you going to be available for me?
A couple of disturbing things now that you're talking about it. The left back position is up for grabs still at Arsenal. It's not really being held down by anybody. And the striking position is up for grabs as well.
And I would say the left side is as well.
Yes. Martinelli. Wow. Let me catch up on a couple of comments here and then we'll get back into it. Prime $3 said, I'm telling you, Arsenal's like that woman where you have to love her unconditionally. Despite her bad looks, bad personality, consistent criminal acts, consistent bad behavior. This is the Arsenal.
I love you, but I don't know why, Ray.
Yeah, that's the song. I'm still of the opinion that if he had not binned off Tierney the last 3 years, persisting with the inverting has cost us a trophy or 2. He doesn't take advantage of his whole squad and has cost us. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely up for debate there. This inverting in order to gain a foothold in midfield and control the middle a little bit. The tactics and system do not play to the advantages of our stars. I've said all year, only this manager could ruin our 2 new star signings. This is our time. BX, I'm not sure if BX really believes it. This is our time. Or is he being a little bit sarcastic? Maybe. The match was a calamitous shit show in the rain. Horrible. Actually, one part of me wanted to sort of to go and take time off from work and watch the game, but I didn't. Lucky.
Ray was trying to figure out if it was on regular.
I was actually
or not.
I was actually thinking that we would win 3-1 as well. I had a 3-1 scoreline on my head. Well, the fourth goal didn't go our way. Tiger and Gunner, welcome to the show. Jack
But but
Goldgar. Yes,
but
Tony.
my thing is we basically have all these center backs and fullbacks that all at one point have played as center backs. That's pretty much their preferred position. That's the
Right.
case with Calafieri. But but if you insist on attacking with both your fullbacks, why don't you go to the traditional back three when you got all these guys that can do center back? Why?
Well,
Why?
then
why
you lose. You lose something somewhere else. If you go three at the back and play two wing backs, you lose something in midfield or up front. So
no, but you don't lose anything up front because you got two extra wingers.
I know that you're campaigning hard for this, Tony.
It just to me it's always a weakness because on that goal, Calafieri's so far out of position, then you have a fucking calamity between Gabriel and
Oh God,
Rhea. It's like
horrible. It's a good thing Steven's not here tonight. The Arsenal misfit, because
it,
he is
it,
not a fan of David Raya, and
it just
Really?
reminded me.
no, not a fan of David Raya.
Oh,
It
why?
reminded me of a time when Zinchenko was playing and Alonso thought that Gabriel was a horrible defender, even though he's one of the best defenders in the world. But it puts tons of pressure
Yeah,
on him, having to defend so much area on that left side.
yep, yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, he's directing traffic. He's yelling at players. He's very talkative. Still think he's a better captain candidate than what Rice is, even though I kind of
Yeah,
prefer my midfielder to be because they're in the middle of the pitch. You can communicate both ways easier, but I think Gabriel's just, to me, he's that de facto captain. Doesn't need an armband really, but that's
Declan
what he
Rice.
does. No, Gabriel, I think he's.
Okay. I didn't like Gabrielle's reaction. It was smacked a little bit of William Gallas at Birmingham many years ago.
Well,
But,
he was. It seemed like he was just super pissed at Rhea.
well, I
To
know.
me,
Well, those are and that's the kind of thing that when that happened, Mikel Arteta was grabbing our set piece coach Nicolas Jover and trying to get him back into the dugout. Because I think sometimes in a situation like a 2-2 draw at Wolves, the optics can be very bad as well when the TV cameras show, the bench arguing, or Gabriel and David Raya arguing, while poor Ricardo is sitting on the line, disgusted that he wasn't able to keep out the shot. But Stan, I will tell you that Steven's not a big fan of David Raya because of his distribution, and he's not tall
Really?
enough, and some of the mistakes that he does make
Well, has
playing.
he? You know, I think maybe then his distribution has improved because I've noticed lately that when he does like a long kick out over to the left-hand side, for example, he does seem to find his man a lot. I've noticed
I
that.
think it's
I've noticed that, and I think to myself, why don't you do that more often? Because the playing out from the back gives me a fucking heart attack sometimes. It really does.
and what makes it worse, Stan, is he doesn't just find him; he finds them in acres of space. It's not like they just win the aerial duel and then dribble past somebody. I mean, they just run into empty space and.
the thing about David Raya that is objectionable is the way he wanders out of his area and can get caught at times.
But I
How can you
think
be arguing about? How can you be
that
arguing
boils
about the
down
goalkeeper
to
that has won 2 Golden Gloves in a row, and he's not even in the team that's winning the league?
Well,
He
there's
he's winning it. You can't take that away from him, and he could be winning it for a third time, which has
there,
never been
there
done.
have been
If he
a
wins it
couple
again,
of
it's never been done. It's never
there's
been
been a
done.
couple of mistakes with David Raya and Gabrielle. There's been a couple of misunderstandings. Sunderland away from home in the death as well. We drew 2-2.
But it's for me, it's like, are the mistakes permanent? You know what I'm getting at? Are they consistent? Everyone,
I don't believe so.
Everyone makes mistakes. You can't be like a robot that you get out of the box, you put your batteries in, you play that perfect game. There's going to be maybe that lapse of concentration. And for someone like Gabriel, for example, there's been a couple of occasions where he has made a mistake. But what I like about him is that he's very good at putting it right in the same game.
Yeah.
He has that in his box. Do you know what I mean? Mascara the other week when he almost put us into jail. But he very quickly showed his responsiveness and ended up like getting us bang out of jail. And I was like, you know, because people ain't perfect. There's going to be mistakes. For me, it's the players that make the mistakes consistently that it gets a little bit gnawing for me. It gets a little bit like, okay, there doesn't seem to be like any learning here, any self-awareness here. I'm sure people are talking to you. You're still doing that thing that you're not supposed to be doing, right? It doesn't work for you.
But I hate the fans that sit there and attack Rhea, but they don't realize it's Arteta that's asking him to play out of the back, to be on the front.
He's not executing. They're not executing it properly then.
Yeah, but he works with that coach, doesn't he? That coach is the coach that he's worked with. It wasn't like he came to Arsenal and doesn't know anyone. That coach was like brought in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Ramsdale was like, okay, it's like 2 against 1 here. I'm trying to fight for my place, but you must think like the goalkeeping coach is his homeboy.
Yeah. Going back to Mikel Arteta in the press conference, here's what he said. I think any question, any criticism, any opinion you take it on the chin. Any bullet, take it. We didn't perform at the level required, so anything that anybody says can be right. Mikel Arteta. You know, you got to take the criticism when it doesn't come off for you.
I'd rather he said that than try to kind of like do something like, well, you know, I thought we had a good spell here. Do you know what I mean? He didn't try to do that. Sometimes you've got to like, it is what it is.
Yeah. This is a little bit,
you know what I mean?
A
bit like, yeah.
So,
and they're trying to say to the players, look, you've got to be humble sometimes. You've got to be humble sometimes, and like sometimes we have to just we fucked up today. All of us got it fucking wrong.
Yeah, it's a clear message to the players, and this is one way the manager can speak just to the players.
And it wasn't like he was individualistic about it, right? It wasn't like, oh yeah, fucking such and such, what a wanker. You know what I mean? He didn't throw anyone under the bus. It was more about a collective thing, right? And you know, why not?
Some managers do that. So the players probably appreciate that. But the message is theirs that you better fix up. You better fix up on Sunday. We got a big game coming in. We've dropped points today in a situation where we really should be looking at where we've broken the 60-point barrier with 11 games to go. We have not broke the 60-point barrier. We got pegged back to 58 points at 5, as you said, a 5-point lead over Man City, and
a game over them now as well. We played 27, they played 26.
So what's the old adage? Points in the bag or games in hand? What do you prefer?
Points in the bag, man. I mean, you know, because it's so easy to. For me, it feels like we're 5 points ahead, but that could be 2 so soon. Once they get level with us, if they win their game and get 3 points, yeah. Now it's fucking greedy. Now that's getting close. Yeah. That's and we got. Remember, I count it in 3 points. Now it's basically if we get to only 2 points ahead, we can only afford 2 draws. Did you know what I'm getting at?
Yep.
That's not a good cushion, man.
What's scary?
But what it
Yeah.
is now, it's just one draw, and they're even with us. And I believe are they ahead in goal differential?
No, we're
They're
pretty
not.
close. Pretty close in terms of goal differential.
Yeah.
Um, but here's the thing, and this is what scares me slightly. They're going to play Newcastle, and I think they're going to play Leeds. You know, Newcastle's a team that worries me now if they're going to be devoting their attention to cups. They're in the FA Cup, they beat Aston Villa last weekend, and they're in the Champions League in the knockout stages. Um, will Newcastle take their attention away from the Etihad on Saturday? And it's a little bit early. We're not really doing a preview, but Man City at home to Newcastle, Stan. Um,
Well,
can
for me,
Newcastle put up a fight? Will they?
I think even if you're a Newcastle fan, it must be so difficult to make predictions this season because Newcastle have to be one of the most Jekyll and Hyde teams I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
very much on the day. With them.
You know, they can look like they're like fucking. It's finished for them, and all of a sudden they like pull performances right out of the bag. They're
Yeah,
a very Jekyll and Hyde team, so I find them, but they're quite unpredictable, right? It really
yeah,
depends on turning up on the day. Are you getting David Banner or the Hulk? You don't know which one's turning up, right? Kind of thing.
yeah. I listen.
And I think Aston Villa a little bit like that as well.
Yeah, you have to say though that the money for the Champions League is so attractive that Newcastle right now are sitting in 10th place, and
Yeah,
but
but
they're about 8 points off of the Champions League places. So
right,
running out of games here. They
but
need
right,
to
for
get
me,
more.
predictions are out of the window because I was listening to Danny, Josh, and Nick. In the background at work on Bergkamp Wonderland.
Yeah.
And on one section, they were looking at the games that were coming up. The fixtures that were coming up, and they were like predicting what the score would be. Win, loss, or a draw. And he had up that those teams in the same away or home position from last that we played in the last season and what the score was. And I was watching it, but then I thought to myself, hold on a minute. For me, Wolves are worse than all of these teams. So what does it mean? What does it really mean? Because all of those teams are better than Wolves. If that wasn't the case, Wolves wouldn't be at the bottom of the table.
You got to play.
One of them would be. So I'm like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I can't make a prediction because if we can play against that against Wolves, that has, if we do the same thing against Tottenham or the same thing against Chelsea or you play like that against Man City, you're done.
Yeah.
It's toast, right? That's it. So that's the thing. And again, there's more anxiety now. The anxiety comes in because it's a North London derby. And you think, oh yeah, we trounced them last time out. Trounced them. Eze, hat-trick, love it. But on the back of a performance like that, you see the Jekyll and Hyde, you're like, okay. So we are capable of playing that badly. Better not do that in a North London derby. Do you know what I mean? So you get a bit of anxiety, you get a bit worried again. You're thinking like, I know North London derbies are different to the other fixtures. They are.
Yeah,
They're in they're in. It's a different thing, right? But they don't have Thomas Frank. I don't know if there's going to be a manager bounce. We're just coming. If you're Tottenham, right, you're looking and thinking, if there's ever a best time to play Arsenal, it's probably this game.
Yeah, they might think that.
You know what I mean? You're thinking maybe any other time we probably wouldn't get nothing out of it. But if there is a chance that we can get something out of it, now is the time.
Yeah.
Because that's where we are at the minute. We're vulnerable. The fan base is melting. People are saying, it can't be done now. We've blown it. Do you know what I mean? So we're in that. They're like, fucking hell. Tottenham are like, we're trying to work out whether the players still believe it or not. Fucking hell, look at the fans. If they don't believe it, the players must be, you know what I mean? So it's all confidence building.
Yeah. Definitely. BX said Newcastle.
I think as much as it was a fucking shit show at Wolves, we're still in the lead, man.
Yeah.
Anything,
It's
anything can happen. Anything can happen until it's mathematically impossible for us to win the league. I can't get too upset. But if we're still in other competitions, you've still got to like try. There's only 4 things up for grabs, and if the Premier League is the one that we end up blowing, and it's the first one, but we're still in the frame for the cup final. Well, the cup final is probably going to come up before that anyway. But you know what I'm saying? The FA Cup or the Champions League, and we're kicking it. We've still got to. The job is not finished until the season's over.
exactly.
It's not done. You know, you got to keep going, man.
We
you got to see the job through, man.
This game against Wolves was our 42nd game of the season. That's including all games, competitive games. If we go to the final of the Champions League, if we go to the final of the FA Cup and finish our league program, it will be 67 games in a season. 67. So there's a long way to go in the season. There's a third of the season to go. And it's basically because we're going to play City. The City and Arsenal will play each other. It's basically a 10-game Premier League race now.
I still think that it's when is the Carabao Cup final?
22nd of March. It's about 4 weeks from now.
I think that match, because of who we're playing, will shape our future.
We've been saying that. We said that last.
Just because of who it is. And I think both teams feel that. I don't think that both teams are going to go in with the kids, right? They're going in strong.
Here's what's happening as well. Arsenal are going to play significant games in April and May because we've got a decent draw in the FA Cup. We got a lucky draw. Some would say a lucky draw. We play away to the weakest team in the FA Cup. And so we're going to get to a quarter final of the FA Cup, and we're going to play.
But we couldn't maintain a 2-2. We couldn't maintain a 2-0 lead against the worst team in the league. This is what I'm saying. It's not like we should, and it's really like each game now is a fresh journey, man. It's a fresh ride because if we can play that badly and allow that bad team to come 2 goals back into it and take 2 points away from us in that manner, it's so hard to call what you should or shouldn't be doing. Do you know what I'm getting at? It really is down to, are these players going to be up for it? Is the manager going to be able to set this team so that they are up for it and not put out a performance like that? Because another performance like that ain't going to help nobody in the next game.
Yeah.
And then where'd you go from there?
Took me 90 minutes to get to this question. Is part of the podcast title. Will the Wolverhampton Wanderers draw 2-2, a Desmond 2-2? Will that be a footnote in our season? A minor point in our season? At the end of the season, we're lifting some kind of silverware. We can say, well, that was a bad point in our season. We all remember how we felt, but now we're lifting the Premier League title. And it's up to the players, really. You can answer if you think it's a footnote, a minor addendum on our season, or you don't have to answer that. But
I'm pretty sure there were teams that have won the league, and when you go back and look through the goals or the score each per game, that they would have come away from an away match with a point, and the score would be 2-2. Right?
Yeah,
it's the manner of it all, of who we were playing. I mean, the fact says it all that a team that's at the bottom of the league has never in the history of the Premier League played the team leading and come back from being 2-0 down to get a draw at 2.
The other thing that's
never happened before. So why is it happening? Why did it happen to us? It's never happened before.
Did we fall into the? Okay, so you this is a bad way to think, but you could think as a human being that, okay, we're 2-0 up, and they've scored a absolute worldie. The kids scored a really great goal to go 2-1. But I'm thinking as an Arsenal player, and this again is a bad thing to think. We've been really great defensively. we just play out this game. We get out of here with a 2-1 win. It's been a long season. There's big games coming up. We have a North London derby on Sunday. Maybe our focus went away from this game, and we were thinking about the North London derby and saving ourselves a little bit.
But if any one of those things that you just said are true, champions shouldn't be doing that.
Shouldn't be doing that.
We should be thinking of. Do you know what I mean? We should be making sure that we take care of business on the day.
Yeah.
It wasn't the case that we went to Wolves and they played their best game and really put us to work and really was like, and we gave everything and we managed to get out of there with a point. You'd be like, you'd be disappointed, but you'd be like, it just wasn't happening that day. But they were terrible, and we had a 2-0 lead. And as I say, at that point, you've got two choices. You either lock that game down, and that's the end of it, or you keep going. You continue to put your foot down on the throat, and you get a third one, and you totally demolish them. You do, but as I say, for me, it didn't look like that. We tried to do one or the other. We kind of like were half-heartedly in limbo. We weren't committing to one of those two things.
That's a great point, Stan. That's a great point.
We're fighting for a championship. We should be doing one of those two things. And it was indecisive. I don't know what it was, but I look at that and I think to myself, like, champions should be better than that to this team.
Right. You lock it down by bringing Norgard in or Ben White in. You lock it down.
The options
what did we do? We brought Eze in and we brought Gabriel Jesus for Madueke and for Gyökeres. We put the same thing back out onto the field, especially with Gabriel Jesus, who's not as physically imposing as Gyökeres is. If you don't agree, I mean, we can agree maybe Gyökeres could score more goals, but we also, there's a debate as to his physicality does help the team.
But Gabriel he had a great opportunity, didn't he, where he could have either tried to have got on and passed that ball into someone else or took a shot, and he did neither. Yeah. He did neither. Yeah. And this geezer's on like 200 bags a week, man. I mean, this is a top. His indecisiveness. Did you know the opportunity that I meant? The ball come across, and he could have tried to have like passed it on.
Yeah.
Because someone was running in, or he could have gone for a shot, but he didn't do anything. And you're like, come on, man, come on.
Yeah.
And Ray,
you're top level. You're a top level footballer. You're an international. You're on bags. Do something, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ray, don't forget.
Realise, sorry, I just want to say, Tony, sorry to interrupt. It won't be long. And that's what you see, that kind of performance, and you think to yourself, that's why we went out and looked for something else, and we spent over 60 million on something else.
Yeah.
But that something else ain't working either.
No.
Not working, is it?
No. Tony. No.
Excuse me.
You forgot to mention Calafieri there. You're trying to close out a game. I don't think I would bring him on.
Yeah. Listen, I know it's Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're the team at the bottom. They've won one game.
One of the worst teams in British football history.
Yeah,
not just the Premier League. I mean, this is 140 some years of association football, and this is one of the worst teams out of thousands and thousands of teams.
Well, I don't care. I don't care. You get out of there with a 2-1 win. If that's as bad as it is, we're talking about a 3 points.
But I think you get out of there if you don't dick around on that fucking throw-in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wasted a minute.
And Gabriel didn't it lead to Gabriel Jesus having a chance in the inside left channel? You waste a minute, the ball goes there, and then it comes back the other way. And the thing that has irritated me about this, Tony and Stan, if you're listening, is the lack of pressing on the ball. When Wolverhampton Wanderers had those two chances to score the goals, the kid The left back, great goal, but no pressure on him at all. No Hincapi, no left wing player pressing. And the other thing as well, on the other side of the pitch, when the ball comes in on Gabriel and David Raya, there's no pressing on the cross as well. There was because if you rush the cross a little bit, you have a chance maybe the player doesn't put good a ball into the box in those moments. You know, the left foot doesn't get lined up to just go inside that post. I saw slightly different angle. One angle, you think it just creeps right inside the left upright, and then the other
But
one, it goes sort of arcs over David Raya a little bit as well.
but when you're 2-1, right?
Yeah,
Why do you have your fucking fullback in an attacking midfielder spot?
I don't know.
Because that was the result of that goal. Was
Damn good question. And
Calafieri being way up there. That
I
led to,
really
that put Gabriel and Ray in that position.
we've seen it in the All or Nothing documentary when we went out of the FA Cup at Nottingham Forest. Mikel Arteta went spare on the players. Something like that probably happened last night in the dressing room.
His voice went so high in that clip that
He
dogs
went,
around
of
the
course.
world, the dogs around the world were like,
Yeah. It went
Yes.
so high and it went so hoarse.
yeah, it was like went subsonic. Only dogs can
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
They,
And he
they
also
were
said,
they were like, it's time for our treat.
I take the shit for you, the
Yeah,
player.
Win heard
I'll
it.
take the shit for you players. And that's what he's done, and that's what he's continued to do. So, listen, I think it's time for the players to step up on the North London derby. But mentioned Newcastle going to Man City. You don't generally would not think or hold hope that Newcastle could do anything. But as Stan said, they are a Jekyll and Hyde team. They're 8 points off of the Champions League placings, and 10 games to go. They're going to have to do something quick.
I didn't get to say on your footnote question, Ray.
Yeah,
It's not a footnote because the last 4 or 5 seasons, you have pointed out these clumps of games where it's like lose, or it's draw, win,
yeah, I
loss,
might have some of them here.
something like that. It's
Yeah,
we always joke about it's brownies address and Wells, but
That's right. Yeah, Brownie's address.
but it happens.
there we go. I'll show you.
It's happened every
Yeah.
time except for that
There we
one
go. There's
time
one of
when we were game per game, like
There's little clumps.
us and City both won like 18 in a
There's that
row.
one there, lose, draw.
Yeah, lose, draw. Probably in November, something like that. Here's a good one. So that was 24-25. I'll show you 22-23. I've sort of kept these things here. This is where we really failed out in the last 9 games. 3 wins, 3 draws, and 3 losses. That had to be the Southamptons 3-3, the Man City 4-1. You know, there was one there.
I know what one of those L's are, and it's the maddest I'll ever be. It was Newcastle.
I wasn't as annoyed back then, purely because I never felt that had enough.
Yeah,
I felt that we had some good players, but there wasn't the supporting cast was never good enough to what you need for what you need to be a successful club in the league and in Europe. And I was really convinced this season that we'd really addressed that, which encouraged me. And if you remember towards the beginning of the season, we had key players out and we were like, do you remember? It was Gabriel was out, wasn't he? We had no Havertz,
Yep.
no Jesus.
Mascara stepped in.
Odegaard was out, and we were still being able to like go out there and get results with like not even our first 11, and it seemed like we weren't able to put out what we would think of a first 11 for quite some time. If you remember, there was always a couple of players where and it was all going so well. Mascara was coming in; it was looking good. And that was what really gave me the hope. I'm like, okay, we've got enough now. I believe that we have got enough in the positions. Okay, you can't legislate for injuries and health, but on just looking at it, you think they've put themselves into a position here to do it because they've addressed the things that I felt needed to be done, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it annoys me so much when you do that. And then you do a situation like in that last game, it's against Wolves, that you're gonna run Timber into the ground when you've got Ben White on the bench.
Yeah.
Even if you think Timber is better than Ben White, or some people out there think that Ben White is better than Timber. What I'm saying is there ain't a lot. There's not a lot in it. It's not a huge drop off. It's not like you're taking off Timber and you're putting on like a 16-year-old who's done nothing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not a huge drop-off, and I would say the same thing for Zubimendi and Norgard. Yeah, for sure, everybody's 100% fit. You're going to pick one against the other, but in a situation where one has given you everything and is literally like running on empty, wouldn't it be better to bring on this other guy that he might be like an El Neni, like he might be 75% of that player as a footballer, but he's coming on giving me that whole 75% where this player's just like, he's done now. He's making mistakes.
Yeah,
He's fucking. Do you know what I'm getting at? I don't understand why. That's what I thought the investment was for. That's what I thought the whole point of it was. And it's not like Norgard has come from Norway, never stepped in the league before. He's played at every single ground in the Premier League. He was good enough to be deemed a captain for a Premier League side. So he's been around, right? This is a guy that, and when called upon, when he has been called upon, even fleetingly, and he had to step into the defence for us one time, he's never looked. If you've never seen him play and go, oh, don't pick that guy again. Oh my God, what a disaster! Oh, he's stinking up the place. There's not been a problem.
Pretty decent. Yeah,
there's not been a problem. He might not he might not be super class fucking Maldini or whatever. But he's not like causing a problem. He's not making us lose games.
Yeah.
But what he reminds me of is Jorginho's second year with us when Arteta just won up playing. And for some reason, Norgard's not getting in there. I mean, he should be coming in for both players. He should be coming in there for Rice. Should be coming in there for.
I remember
a season ago he was entrusted to be a captain in the Premier League side.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, do me a favor.
I remember.
Do me a favor.
You know, Brentford.
Novice.
You know, Brentford would in previous years. Brentford would come to the Emirates and give us a tough game and actually take some points from us. One time, Norgard did crunch Martinelli out on that left wing, and I was like, wouldn't mind having a player like that in our team. They could put it about a little bit, have a little bit of steel, not pick up the yellow cards that most Arsenal players do. But he's been very much underused this season. Don't get me wrong. Listen, I think
we don't know why, right? We don't know why or what it is. We can only go by what we see when the guys played. But I mean, wouldn't you not think to yourself, you're playing for Brentford, you're a captain, and Arsenal are interested in you.
He can play.
You're kind of a bit of an elder statesman age-wise, and all of a sudden you probably thought to yourself, my days of going to a team like Arsenal and having a chance of winning the Premier League are probably long gone.
I mean, actually,
and then you go there and it's like, I'm in a team that's fighting in all these fronts, but I'm not a part of it. So am I better off here, or was I better off playing week in, week out back there?
Stan, when Mikel Arteta was playing and he did come to Arsenal, Okay, Mikkel might have been just a little bit more cultured, but Norgard's very much in the same mold as a Mikel Arteta when he came to Arsenal. Uh, elder player in the twilight of his career, getting a big move to the big club, and so Arteta should see something of himself in Norgard in that situation.
But the crazy thing is, we're not even here arguing that he should be starting. We're saying you don't have to run this other guy into the ground because you do have a supporting cast
This
here.
is the reason.
You've got an
This is,
understudy, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
if you've got a big play on it uptown, you're gonna have an understudy to the main actor. If the main actor can't do it, you don't shut down the production. There's an understudy.
yeah, and
You know what I mean? Who can carry it? And I just think that we've got that, and that could be costing us.
that's the perfect use of your squad when you're playing the lesser teams in the lower reaches of the Premier League, the last rung of the ladder in the Premier League. These are when Zubimendi should be saved for Champions League, should be saved for the North London Derby, should be saved for the London Derby. Meanwhile, these Tottenham players, I don't know what they're going to put out on Sunday, but they're resting up. They've had rest, you know.
And if you're a Norgard and you know that you're going to get those opportunities, you're thinking to yourself, okay, you know what? I'm going to surprise you when I do play. I'm going to make it difficult for you to make a decision for that next game because
Yeah.
I want to be able to try and match a Zubimendi. You know, he's no stranger to the league. He's no slouch. Surely his tail's up. Surely he's honoured that at that late in his game, Arsenal deemed that he was good enough to come and be a part of this winning thing. That's what I'd be thinking.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Wow. Yes, please. And then you go there and you're watching it all unfold in front of you, and you're like, this is all good and everything, but I feel like I'm just like watching it through a window.
Yeah. Now's the
I'm
time.
not actually part of it. Do you know what I'm getting at? You know?
I really hope. I feel. I'm going to say I believe it. I feel that in May at some point, the Arsenal players will be walking around the Emirates holding the Premier League trophy aloft, and that's the time when you want to say as a player that I played a part in bringing this to this
Yeah.
club. You don't want to be saying, oh, I didn't play enough, or I feel bad that I wasn't a big part of this. Mikel Arteta needs to give these players those minutes.
And that's that's why you had Berta doing these last minute deals, getting these type of players in to give us the depth you need. And it's like, is Arteta pissed off that these aren't what type of players he wanted? I mean, is that it? Is
I
he
think
being
he's
petty?
just a snob.
I just
Is
think that
he being petty?
you know, like presentation day when you get your medals and that, nobody wants to be that player where you're wearing like a suit and a shirt and a tie. You want to be in the kit, right? If you're in a suit with a shirt and a tie, it's either because you're injured or you ain't been picked a lot, and you got to go. You know what I mean?
You didn't make the bench even.
Got to wear a three-piece suit and that. You know what I mean?
As
But
Larry was
like,
saying, you didn't get a shirt. You didn't get the suit up. As Gary
but
would say.
I can't imagine being Norgard where you spent 95% of the season on the bench.
Listen, when you come, every squad needs, every team needs players like this, squad players, who know they're going to get 15% of the minutes in a season if they're lucky, 10 to 15%.
Yeah, but he's good enough to get more than that.
Yeah, and he would have come. He would have come knowing that his playing time would have been limited under Mikel sitting behind Zubimendi.
And like I said, it reminds me exactly of Jorginho's second year. That first year, he's breaking his ass. Then my second year, just Arteta wouldn't put him out there. I'm like, you got these injuries. Why isn't a very capable Jorginho out there helping these guys?
Yeah. As Tiger said, should have played Norgard and White in this game. There can be a benefit to playing players who want to impress the manager. There can be a benefit to putting Norgard in over Zubamendi. Can be benefit to putting White in over Timber. And what's so bad about playing Norgard for 60 minutes, then bringing Zubamendi on? And if you want to do it that way, you keep him ticking over. You keep Zubamendi ticking over. But Norgard has played on a probably on a heavy pitch under those wet conditions of snow. Uh, and you save some of the energy levels for Sunday when you're going to need to play a North London derby against your enemy.
Something that I think about as well is the personality, because I think if I was in those shoes, my personality, I'd be sitting on the bench if I was Norgard, and I'd be thinking to myself, it wasn't so long ago that I was the captain of a Premier League team and playing every week. And okay, I know that we weren't maybe like fighting for the league, but you know, we were doing bits and we were stable. It goes, and now I can't even get minutes against the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
I can't even. I used to start against this team. Now I can't even get minutes against them, and this is probably going to go down. You know what I mean? And if I came into play, why am I not at least playing in this one? Why am I not getting a sniff in this one? That's what I would be thinking, and I'd be thinking to myself, like, am I that bad? Am I that bad in this manager's eyes that like I can't? You know, I used to play against this team every week. I captain teams against them. I'm not some bloke who's just come from Norway, literally got off the boat, and I don't even know like my way around London. I'm from London, and this guy won't trust me. That's what I'll be thinking. He don't trust me against this lot.
Yeah.
What the fuck's happening to my? What the fuck's happening to my future? That's what I would be thinking. Like, fuck. You know what I mean? Is that where I am here? That wouldn't bode well for me. I might not express that out to other people, but I would be thinking that. I would. I'd be thinking, like, when am I ever going to play? If I can't get minutes against this lot, when am I in the frame then for any minutes? This is like, what's going on? I know I'm getting paid nice.
Yeah.
I'm a footballer.
To me, it reminds me of like when Trossard, where he couldn't get any minutes. Arteta just wouldn't go to him. Then he was forced to. Then, like this year, he figured that, Gyökeres doesn't click without Trossard on there, so he's been an integral part of the team this year.
Yeah.
Second top scorer in the Premier League. Gotten all kinds of assists.
This is Mikel Arteta again, doing Mikel Arteta.
You said something earlier, Tony, about a clear the air chat, which I didn't know nothing of. I didn't hear about that. If there was a clear the air chat, if I was Nordegaard, these are the kind of questions I'd be asking, right?
Right.
What's to do it? You know what I mean? Like, I'll be like, do you not fancy me or what?
Yes, Stan Norgard.
And I'm not getting a sniff. Like, I can't shore up nothing. There's no instances when we're doing really well in the game, and there's another fixture coming up that you might want to take either Deck or Zubi off, and I can come in and give them a breather. I know that you might not want to pick me over them to start. Okay, I know I'm 31 and may not be, but come on, man. I mean,
you can be the closer.
You brought me in for something, right? You've dragged me away from being a captain for my team in this league for a reason. Why am I not getting? I'd ask these questions. I'd be asking. Tell me,
Stan,
what do I have to do? What is it?
Those would have been conversations, Dan. Those would have been conversations in the summer.
And I would have done as well. I would have said to him, when you needed a centre back, you called me, and did I let you down?
Yeah.
So what's going on? I would be saying that. I'd be like, you was happy then when it was like in an emergency, smash glass.
Yeah.
And pull out Nordgaard, and I did well for you. And where's my
those would have been conversations in the summer.
Nordgaard, maybe he's happy. Maybe he's just like, it's all cool.
Nordgaard came to the club probably with, okay, I'm going to pick up a few Carabao Cup games, and I'm going to pick up a few FA Cup games here and there, and I should play some minutes in the Premier League. I don't know what his minutes look like, Tony.
I may not be. I may not be.
I
come in for someone. You'd be thinking, okay, I'm going to be on the bench if I keep myself fit. I train well, and I may not start every game. But you know, you're looking at someone like Jorginho, maybe, and thinking that maybe I can have that role, and maybe get a few more minutes if I play well, right?
Yeah, he must be one of the most underutilized players in our squad, in our first team. And I think that due to injuries as well, isn't Waneri going to be brought back?
You took the wild words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say as well. The one thing that I thought to myself, I understood why he went on loan because
Yeah.
they want him to, be able to play. But I was always thinking to myself, like, come on, Arsenal. You know how it is. We always get fucking injuries of one kind or another.
Yeah.
Something's going to go down. It's happened before. I remember when it happened before when we had, was it Callum Chambers was out on loan and we had a problem in defence and you're thinking, okay, he may not have been the first choice, but we can't even call on him now. He's out there playing for someone else. And I thought, is that going to, and then what happens? Marino goes out.
Yep.
And for me, it's a big loss. For his dual role, he's a big loss for us, I think.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
you would be thinking, okay, he's out. Eze's, Eze looks like that. He's really on the periphery. Maybe Waneri, if he was around, it could be like, okay, well, I've got this guy. He wasn't originally in my plans, but fucking hell, I'm not getting it out of Eze. Odegaard's fucking in and out of the team like fucking a yo-yo.
Yeah.
Because he can't keep fit. Waneri's here, right? And he did have an impact when he played before. Maybe he would have, because of circumstance, now be, maybe on the bench, right, as someone that we can call upon. But no, we're not going to know that now, right? That tool is no longer in the toolbox. We can't use that one.
Yeah.
And it's just our luck. I get it at the time, but with our history, you should be thinking, let's be a bit selfish here because, you know what I mean?
I thought I saw something where he's coming, there is a mechanism where he's coming back to the Arsenal.
This is criminal, Ray. I'll tell you of a total man that doesn't sound totally terrible.
Criminal.
But when I break it down, it's horrible. 769 minutes, 270 in the League Cup.
3 games.
287.
Norgard. Okay.
287 in the Champions League. 180 in the FA Cup, and a whopping 32 minutes in the Premier League.
Right, that's it. Because
that's criminal.
We felt the need to, hey Alonso, we felt the need to close out the game with Norgard and maybe Rice in 32 minutes of the season. We thought about Norgard in a Premier League season. You got to lead.
How does that happen? How does that?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how it happens, but Mikel Arteta.
And McClure talks. He must have been just sitting there mumbling, "Fuck."
Smooth criminals, Alonso, smooth operators. Okay.
A question.
Right, smooth operators.
We did touch on Saka playing in that more of a central role.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? Because for example, I did see somebody on Twitter say, "I never want to see Saka in midfield ever again."
I think it's great. I think we've struggled to find those passing lanes with Gyökeres. So I feel Saka's is much more gifted to pass a ball correctly at the right time.
And he can hold the ball up.
He can hold the ball up. There are patterns that we know Saka can hook in from the right side into that inside right channel, and he receives the ball from the fullback. You know that sort of trademark pass from the fullback as he's sweeping infield. Some of those things can happen in midfield. Saka can now bring in his left winger. He could maybe connect with Martinelli more consistently.
Do you know, here's my one question about that. And as much as I mentioned it to you before about him, I think that he could play there. My question is, like when you a game's coming up and it's an hour before kickoff, you look on your phone to see the lineup.
Formation, yeah.
And you see the formation. What I noticed is that it was very specific with this formation that it was 4-3-1. was it 4-3-1 thing, right? You know, with
4-2-3-1.
it was prominent that it wasn't like a front three in the way that they set it up. That it was Gyökeres, Saka behind him, and then next to Saka,
Yeah. It's
the wide
4-2-3-1.
right? And when usually, right, if Saka was playing on the right, and in that middle three, it was Zubimendi, Rice, and say one of Odegaard or Eze, it would be very much like that sort of like 8. Do you know what I mean? Rather than the prominent 10.
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, if you're willing to do that for Saka and try that, as in having a number 10, not looking for a 6 and 2 8s, why have you never tried that with Eze? Because Eze is a 10. Eze is a 10. As much as Saka could probably play that role, we have a player that has been playing that role, but he's willing to experiment and move him from the right, where he's been effective this season, notwithstanding, because his numbers are poor, rather than go, you know what? If I'm going to play a 10, I'm going to play this guy that I bought for quite a lot of money, who played a 10. You know what I mean? And done it very well at Crystal Palace. So that, again, I like that he's done it. I like that Saka looks like he can do it. But I do have this question: like, if you want to why, you know what I mean, to fit Madueke in the team, he's moved Saka there. Why did he Why did not try that formation with Saka there, but Eze playing at the 10, and just see what it looked like? Let's give the boy a chance to play in the position that he done really well in, and let's see if it works. So that was a little bit for me. Is a little bit again, and if you're Eze, much in the way that I said about Nordegaard sitting there on the bench thinking, I can't even get into this team against Wolves. Surely, if you're watching that as Eze, you're like, so you're willing to shuffle all of that around, play with a formation as a number 10, and you've got me sitting on the bench who was very successful as a number 10, and he's not giving me that chance yet. What the fuck is going on? Again, that's what I would be thinking if I was Eze. That's my personality. I'd be like, you're actually now playing a system that would accommodate me, and you're not even giving me a go. Why is that?
Yeah.
You'd rather move the fucking best player from that position and do that. Why not get me playing in the 10 in my best role with the best player in the team in that position and see what we can do like that? It might not work, but that would be the mentality that I would be thinking, watching it all unfold in front of me from the bench.
Well, that's where we're coming to now, isn't it, Stan?
Yeah, Stan, why don't you be like Jimmy Hart with the megaphone, just screaming, asking for coaches?
That just tells you that the manager doesn't trust you or believe in you, right? That's what I would be thinking. Especially you've just come in, you've not been there for a long time. You've still got to settle in, and that's the message you're getting. You'll be thinking to yourself, this guy, I know that he bought me in that, but he don't believe in me. I had that one bad game against Aston Villa on the left, right, when Matty Cash done me, and all of a sudden that's been drawn a line under. I've been banished from that fucking part of the pitch. That's never happening again, by the looks of it. He's not getting, for whatever reason, it's like he's not getting a chance there again. So as a player, when you go to Arsenal, you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is good. You know, not only am I going to Arsenal, I could get to play, but I can play in a couple of positions. I could even play on the left. That straw from your hat is now gone because the manager's like, hey, you ain't playing on the left no more. You've got to play there. And so he's been playing as an 8. He got a hat-trick in the North London derby. He hasn't looked, you know, what he did like at Palace, because maybe we don't play that way. And then the one time that we change the squad around and incorporate that position, he doesn't even get a look in. That for me is a little bit like, at least I would want, if I was the manager, I'd want to know. I'd want to know, is it me? Is it him? Did we buy the wrong guy? Okay, there you go. And then you can judge it, right, on a couple of games and then think, oh, okay, if I play this formation, actually, if I play this way, this guy can contribute. Or you're going to go, you know what? We tried it. It still didn't work. Didn't fit.
And don't forget he's a lifetime Arsenal fan as well. So that even makes it worse, not getting to go out there and try to show what you have. You went out to your arch rivals, got a hat trick, and after that, he's barely been in the squad.
Yeah. BX said he's not a very cunning manager, Mikel Arteta.
And as positive
Baldrick, very Baldrick.
as Madueke is, it seems that for whatever reason, the manager seems to like him. Because if he really thought that he was just a stopgap for Saka, as soon as Saka was like able to rise and stand up, get out of bed and put his slippers on, Madueke would have been cast out. But he hasn't. He's actually like tried to shuffle it around to keep him in the team. So that tells us something, doesn't it? About what he thinks about the attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think he had Havertz playing there as the 10 until he got hurt again, because he's just trying to get something out of that attack. And the next man in there's kind of stopped it. Should be Eze, but
Yeah, you're right. If Havertz was still available, Madueke probably, and Saka's available, Madueke's not getting as many opportunities as a starter because he's always going to want to try and find a way to get Havertz and Saka involved, right?
Yeah. Havertz and Saka will give you more goals.
They're bang in the middle of that fucking circle of trust, mate. They got membership.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah.
VIP. They're the VIP part of that circle of trust, man.
True. And that's unfortunate. That's
part of a
unfortunate.
strip club you never get to see.
It's just annoying for me. As much as I say we need to get behind this team, we're still in the competitions. But it is annoying to me that the one thing that I felt we were lacking in, and I've said it a couple of times, the past few seasons, was having proper reinforcements and a competitive team. And now that we've got that, and it's two things. There have been some injuries that have really, meant that we haven't been able to have certain players to be more available than we'd like. But it does annoy me that the way that some of those players are being used. And some of them, for whatever reason, haven't been as good as we'd hoped. It's a combination, right? Because you have to say that the three attacking players have underwhelmed on the whole. Gyökeres, Eze, they're very much under Noni Madueke. On the whole, they've had a couple of moments, but on a consistent level, you're playing 38 games in the league. There's the consistency level for those three players. It hasn't been on it. There was, a lot of the fans really wanted, again, I think with Gyökeres, I don't think it was ever belief. I think it was hope. It got to a stage where you could still see that it wasn't happening, but people were still trying to freeze frame certain parts of a game and try to convince you. And that's all well and good, but that's hope. Of course you want it to come good. We're Arsenal. We've just spent X amount of money on this guy, and it was all that him or Sesko. You want to be seen to making the right decision, but sometimes you just don't get it right. And for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out with those three players. They were supposed to be an addition to the attacking side of our game, which was something that we were looking to raise. And it's not looked as... You look at other teams that have made some attacking signings, and they seem to be shining better. I don't know what that is. Is it because of the way that we play football that these players are not able to do or play the game in a way that they would like to? Because if you play for Arsenal, you've got to play that position this way. I don't know.
I think that's the nail on the coffin. There is that's what Arteta expects of you.
I think Madueke is not. I think Madueke is not in that field, because with him, he is very proactive. He is very direct. He wants things to happen, but that end part of the game, that end part of the move, more than not, it doesn't end up in the net, either by coming off of his foot or because he's put someone in. But he is still at an age where if these coaches are good at anything, which is hopefully improving players, he can improve on that. And if that happens, he really could be a big star, because he's got so much else about his game that is quite positive. And you can see it with some of the goals that he scores. But if he could just get that consistently, it could really be, it could really work out for him. So with him, he's probably like my project, the one that I'm watching, because I'm thinking he's at the right kind of age. He's at the right place where if he look at the way Gabriel improved when he first came to where he is now. I think he really did improve. He used to get stupid red cards a lot. His game has really improved. If Noni Madueke can have a similar amount of growth and improvement in his game, he could be really useful to us. So I'm interested to see if that can happen.
And that frees up Saka, and that makes you ask where are you to put Saka at if you can have Madueke there on the right. Are you to put him in are you to put him as a 10 or put him as a striker? I mean, you got options with Saka. You can put him basically
funny that we've just paid Saka in his contract. I want to have an environment where we've done that, but there's a guy there here that could knock on your door. You know, to keep you at your contract peak. You know, that's what you're trying to do. Right? You don't want to give him a nice contract and then it's just like, you know, towel and slippers.
Yeah, and that's like I said before.
Good competition behind them and good rotation. Also, as well, if you've got good rotation, that player knows that if he comes out and rests, the team can still be competitive, which gets to that end goal of winning trophies. Especially for someone like Saka, this is his team. This is his boy. He's invested more than a lot of other players that have come from another team or another country. This is his club. So when I hear sometimes like other players didn't want it, I don't think it's that, because there's so many players that have got an opportunity to win the league that from the teams where they came from, that was never in the picture. Ben White, for example, never going to win the league at Brighton.
Nope.
David Raya, he's never going to win the league at Brentford. Trossard, he's never going to win the league at Brighton. Do you know what I'm getting at? There's players that have come in that all of a sudden they've been elevated into a position where like we're in the fucking big leagues here. We're not fighting to get in the Europa Conference League. We're fighting to get into a semi-final final of the Champions League. This is the big time. So that's why when you look at a performance like the one at Wolves, you think to yourself like, that's a bit of a disgrace. These are supposed to, you know what I mean? These are like supposed to be top professionals, and you already were 2 goals ahead. It wasn't like they were giving it their all, as I'm saying. And Wolves were, you know, they were playing out of their skin. They played a worldie, and it was like, wow, went away from home at Wolves, and they really ran us, and we managed to nick a point. No, we were in the driving seat. They were in the rearview mirror. They were playing absolute pants, for want of a better word. Weren't playing well. For whatever reason, we left there with 1 point.
Yeah, we just turned off the car and let it cruise to a finish line.
And you can't afford too many more of them, because all that does is you lose points. But more than that, it allows that big blue bus to catch up. And it's more annoying now when it's a little bit different when they're already ahead and you're maybe 4 points behind. And you're trying to play out your skin to catch them, but you're like, it's fucking Man City.
Yeah.
They have gifted us points this season. We have managed to get out in front. So if we do somehow end up being in, say, like a month's time, 5 or 6 points in second place, it's going to be difficult for you to like have an argument with someone when they say that we're bottlers. Which is something that in the past, I've never liked that. It really like used to like niggle me when people used to say that about Arsenal, as much as like the one chant that I fucking hate hearing when I'm watching Arsenal, whether at the ground, which I haven't been to in a long time, or on TV, is when the opposition, like one of our players gets fouled, and like, you know, a nasty foul, and he's rolling around on the floor, and the opposition fans go, same old Arsenal, always cheating. That drives me mad. I'm like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? You just like took the geezer out. A little bit like Trossard today, like getting almost concussed.
He was concussed. It looked like he almost fell down. He may not be
available for the next game because of protocols, right?
Yeah, didn't that look like he almost fell down when he finally stood up to you?
But again, it'd be that sort of situation, and the fans of the other team are going, same old Arsenal. That really fucking winds me up. It's one of them things that really winds me up.
These are the rivalries of fans.
Hey, But Trossard, he looked like he had his sea legs when he tried to stand there.
I mean,
He
Trossard looks sick at the best of times. My missus refers to him as a sickly. When I was little sickly Edwardian boys used to get in the workhouse. You know, like Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
The bowl.
Yeah.
I kind of get that. He doesn't look like he's got like jaundice and that. So he doesn't look fully. You know, he's not like rosy cheeked at the best of times. But he took
little tiny Tim.
a proper clump today, and that player was already on the yellow card. So even if that's not a straight red for violent conduct, surely that's worth a second yellow, isn't it? I mean,
And that's that foul at the end of a game. I thought that was a red because I just thought it was needless to hit him in the chest, even though he didn't hit him in the head. But I still thought it was a red card. It didn't matter. It was at the end of a game, but I think that should have been red.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's just you know, you just cannot afford to put performances out like that if you wanna, you know, if you want to win the league.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Man City, you know, have not had their best season. They still look like a team that's able to drop points. But our superpower was that we might not score more than you, but our defense was good, and that's not been the case of late. Our superpower is leaking. It was supposed to be our defense was going to be our edge, right? And that's we've let goals in. If we didn't have, you know, what I mean, the draws tell you everything. A draw means that a goal was scored against you, right? Whether it's 2-2 or 1-1, or boring 0-0, or boring 0-0 maybe. But you know what I'm saying? Generally, and if you look at it, we have recently, very recently, we've started to get goals sneaked in, which we were tight, ironclad. That needs to be addressed, because if we can't fucking work it out in attack, at least we can't let goals in. Do you know what I mean? Do one or the other, man. Whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? It's got us this far.
I mean, look at like our first 18 games. There's only a couple of games where we didn't have clean sheets. Because we would go in Champions League, get a clean sheet, go play in Premier League, clean sheets everywhere with clean sheets, and all of a sudden it's just not there right now.
It was ages before we'd lost at the Emirates, right?
Yeah.
It was like we went through this whole sort of like, I can't remember how long it was, where I remember they made a big deal when it was like the first time that 3 goals had been scored against us or something like that.
Yeah, like 2.5 years or whatever it was.
It was just like, you know, stats that you can be proud of.
Yeah, it was there's 100 some odd games, like 120 somewhere in there.
If you know that the majority of the teams are going to play a low block, then employ tactics that allow you to beat a low block. I mean, you know what I mean? I just thought, don't just do whatever it is you're doing. If there's like isn't that what you're supposed to do? I mean, you got to find a way around it.
Long ball.
It is going to be. I mean, and, you know, a lot of people are like, they're not enjoying watching the league, and you know, you see a lot of people saying that they find watching the Champions League more refreshing.
Yeah,
because other teams come and other teams play their style of football and it's more open, and you see someone like Martinelli scoring 6 in 6 games out of 7 or something like that. You know, it was some sort of a record up there with Thierry Henry. But then you see him in the league, and what happens in the league? There's a lot of anxiety. It's everywhere. It's in the stand. It's bleeding out.
The ball out.
It's in the dressing room. It's coming out of the manager's mouth. The manager's hearing it from the fucking ownership. There's anxiety everywhere, and it must be like fucking, you know, the alarm goes off in the morning for a Premier League match, and it's like, you're not looking forward to it anymore. Whereas when it's a Champions League day or a cup day, maybe you're springing out of bed. It kind of feels like this Premier League thing has become this huge rock around our neck on a chain, sort of thing, right?
But I can't imagine being.
It's the joy has been sucked right out of it.
But I can't imagine being ownership. Being ownership, you've spent the money. You went out and got you a great director of football. you've got the players, you've got the depth that you need, and you just still end up falling short. So the pressures will be on you as soon as the season ends.
You can't fault Arsenal as an entity, as an environment, for not trying, to be. I don't want to use the word scientific, but it's obvious that they look at all aspects of the game. They look at what are all of the aspects of the game which give you the edge to win, and what are the aspects of the game which allows you to not concede. And that's why we're so, it's like, the things like throw-ins, corners, set pieces, the own goals which are forced. These are all, if the game is fine margins, then you can't be ridiculed for trying to find those fine margins, right? Football's it's a game of fine margins. Well, you should be applauding Arsenal for not leaving any stone unturned. They've got a big magnifying glass out, and they're trying every little thing because they want to get it over the line. And again, it's like 6 years now, and sometimes I think to myself, if we end up with nothing, worst case scenario this season, after 6 years of this, and finishing second 5 out of 6 times or whatever it might be, 4 out of 6, right? What is it that you can say next season to get them up for it again? Haven't they heard it all by now? How do you keep it fresh? And that's one thing that that worries me. It's a big ask, man. You got to go into it again. Somehow you got to be able to convince these guys that you know what I mean. You're the one that can pump it up and keep it going and make the right decisions. Do you know what I mean? How long does that belief last? And you might say, I really love this guy. Really love him. I go around his house and he makes the greatest paella. Always has the nicest bottle of red wine to go with it. Very hospitable. I love this guy. I've learned so much from him. But career-wise and with this team, it's falling short a little bit. What is it? Sometimes you have to be a little bit honest, right? Maybe. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but again, if it's the 6th year and you've been into this project for maybe 5 of those 6 years, you got to be thinking, what the fuck, man? What is it? I mean, I'm looking around at my teammates. This is a good team. I mean, when was the last time we had that kind of a Bayern Munich performance? Leeds, maybe. But, I'm getting at. That Bayern Munich performance was a standout where, the whole team looked like it was a team, right? You didn't need people in the midfield shouting around at everybody. Everybody knew what their job was. It was all working. There's not been enough of that there's not been enough of that feeling this season. And we're supposed to be like champions elect.
Yeah, we don't look like
I get it. I get the anxiety. I really do, because I feel anxious. But I'm not writing it off. You got to see it through to the end, man. Can't write it off.
It's just that fact we don't look like a cohesive unit unless it's in Europe where you have an open style of play. You don't have to worry about the low blocks. Everybody's going for it. It's actually a league now instead of just this group phase where you get enough points in the table and you move on. Now you're vying for those top 8 spots because you get two games off that you don't have to play. And we finished perfect. Got all 24 points. I mean,
the Premier League, right, is a league that you can't predict. You can't predict the Premier League. Things happen that shouldn't happen. We always say, we're on paper, blah, 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 blah. On paper, we should have hammered Wolves. And again, it's like, what does that mean? I mean, if in the scheme of things, does it mean that if you look at, what are the rest of our fixtures for the rest of the season? What will we win? What will we lose? What will we draw? And you can sit there and try and work all of that out. But the cynic could say, well, hold on a minute, mate. Every single fucking one of those teams are better than Wolves, and we couldn't beat them. I'm not saying that happens, but do you see what I'm getting at? All of those teams are better than Wolves, yet today, for some reason, we couldn't beat that team, which is the worst in the league. So we got to make sure that when we go to them other teams, we can't have days like this. Because if it can happen to us at Wolves, it can happen to us at any one of them. And if they smell blood, they're going to take it. Because a lot of these teams, all of those teams, are better than Wolves on paper. Because if that was not the case, they would be below Wolves in the table. Wolves are the worst. They've won one game all fucking season. They've had one victory. Yet when it came to them to play the team that is like leading the league, qualified at the top of the Champions League, already got to a final, still in the FA Cup, they still managed to get a point out of it. How does that happen? And they played shit as well. So, it doesn't mean you look at all the fixtures that are coming. You've got to take it a game at a time, man. And you've got to go into them with an open mind and literally have your fingers crossed that when the final whistle goes, you've got 3 points.
But what do you do,
You
Stan?
can't predict it, man. If we can lose to Wolves, you cannot predict what happens because we should not have lost that game. It doesn't matter who we played. We should have been able to beat Wolves where they are in the standing of the league. They're fucking hopeless. Hopeless. And it wasn't that they came and played their A game and they managed to raise and, they done fucking voodoo the night before and managed to raise the football gods to possess them and play us. And we puffed them, we gave everything, and we were lucky to leave Birmingham with a point. We already got the job done. It was fucking done. You got 2 fucking choices. Shut it down, lock it down, make sure that's how it fucking ends. Or you continue to put your foot on the throat and you score a 3rd goal and totally demoralise that team. And we didn't do either. We just happened. We didn't commit to do either one of those 2 things, and that was our undoing. You got to go one way or the other. We didn't really kind of commit to it. What I felt watching it back.
What do you do, Stan, when you're at the end of March? You win your 2 knockout Champions League game, and you're into the quarterfinals, but you're 5 or 6 points behind City at that point. Do you put your eggs in the Champions League basket, or do you still try to go for everything?
You still got to go for the league, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that Man City still believe they're 5 points behind. They look like, well, that's the end of that then. Fuck, we're never going to catch them. What is it that Bernardo Silva said? What is it he said that if they didn't get anything out of the Liverpool game, then the league was probably like done. Like there was a point. What I'm saying is that I think it was the Liverpool game, but what I'm saying is there was a point that was a peek behind the curtain. They were actually talking about this and thinking like the point is the point of no return is getting close for us, Man City. And if we can't get nothing out of this one, that's it. He said it out loud.
Yeah.
And they got something out of that game, right? So I mean, that shows you about the psychology. And whereas we were supposed to get something out of that Wolves game, we totally shit the bed. We had it in the bag. Anyway, that's enough of me. Let's bring in Alonso. Good evening. All right, pal?
How's it going today? Yeah, so
have the floor, man.
I've been listening to what you guys have been saying about things amongst Arsenal right now, and it seems like I tell people all the time about how February and March seem to be the turning point of Arsenal seasons, right? Whether it being the Wenger years or up until this point, right? And you ask yourself, what's going wrong every single year? In the past, it's been death issues. And this year seems like it's different where, you don't have the proper fortitude to extend certain games and score goals against teams you should destroy. And we've seen this story far too often, Ray, Tony, and Stan, that, like, no matter who's playing for Arsenal, you would think that they would demolish teams that they should beat, including Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Wolves yesterday.
Yeah.
But they don't seem up for it. And as a fan, as a supporter, you kind of see that where their passing is somewhat bad, right? Martinelli, for a second game in a row, could have won the game, and he didn't do that. And it seems like they're stale for some reason. And yesterday, for example, I questioned why Arteta took off Bucharest so early in the 60th minute.
Yeah.
And I get it. We have a game at Spurs on Sunday. But then you bring in Jesus. And to me, Jesus has scored a goal or two this year, but he hasn't really grasped it at all.
Chance. Yeah.
And at the end of the game, he starts fighting with people. And why do you do that for? Because you're a sore loser. And to me, that's not right, you know? And whenever, Wolves scored that second goal, it was like a communication. And, Mark Megalith doesn't take responsibility for that goal that went in. He didn't Raya. So there's a lot of, I want to say dysfunction, but whenever you're on total league for as long as I have, 12 points clear at one point, I believe, then why are they messing up now and letting past ghosts haunt them, you know? And you could blame injuries, but you have viable backups now where they can play. And I mentioned in the comments that Arteta does not want to use backups in certain areas. He rather burned, Zubimendi out by overplaying him in these league games, and rarely do you see Newgard play, right? Just like years past, you've seen Saka getting overplayed, and look at him now; he's always hurt. So, you're forcing Saka to play a position that he doesn't play normally. And why not bring Eze in? Because he's afraid to use his backups.
Yeah.
And he's afraid to go for it.
Alonso, what do you think of Norgard only having 32 Premier League minutes?
I think it's a shame because he's a good player. That's why we bought him in, right, to have cover for Zubimendi.
Yeah.
And
He
he's
set
afraid.
up Jesus' goal in the FA Cup game the weekend.
Yeah, so he's more than capable of being a number 6 for us, but Arteta's so stubborn and hard-headed that he's afraid of something. He's afraid to he's afraid to rotate and keep positions like Timber. Why is he not giving Timber a rest? And Ben White's more than capable of doing so. He's more than being a backup, even plays better overlapping Saka. And also, why is he not giving a fair chance? And it's I think Arteta's afraid to take chances. He's afraid to look at his bench and rotate. But I understand, why is he so quick to pick out Havertz to start games instead of Eze, who you bought in from Palace? Oh, you got him over Spurs. So what's the point of that,
Yeah.
So, Stanley said that Arteta prefers Madueke now because Madueke is apparently on the good side. And Madueke's been playing pretty good lately.
Yep.
So why can't he play Eze or Newgard? Because he's afraid to make mistakes. And that's what I think about that.
Yeah. And we had a built up a 6-point advantage, and we've whittled that away. We've given that away a little bit in the space of maybe 4 or 5 weeks.
To say though, with listening to what Alonso said, which is, basically what I said, and basically what a lot of other people are saying. And if you go on social media, I mean, the classic example is, if you've got a player like Timber, and as a manager, okay, you favour that guy to start at the right back position, but it's getting into 60, 70 minutes, and he's given all that he can give you in that game.
Freshen up.
And he's like breathing out of his arse, and you've got someone with the quality of Ben White sat on the bench. Why can't you make that change? Mm-hmm. It's not like you're bringing off Timber and bringing on someone that you signed from like Division 2. Ben White, for fuck's sake. He needs to turn down England. He's a good player, right? He might not do the same job, but you know what I'm getting at. It's not a Grand Canyon in the distance of the fucking footballers. Why would you not do that? That was the whole point. And if I was the ownership, I'd be thinking to myself, I gave you all this money because you wanted a bigger squad, and you're not even playing some of them. Why did I give you that money? You're not even playing some of them, man. What's going on? You bought Norgard and that, who was a captain and a Premier League team, has played at every ground, and you can't even give him minutes against Wolves, a team that he would start against for Brentford.
But what
you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. If you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't make sense. And you'd rather run that player into the ground in that game. Yeah. It's Wolves. You should be able to put Nordegaard in that game and expect to get a result against a team that is absolutely playing so bad this season. Doesn't make any sense.
You do the opposite. You do the opposite. Your other fullbacks doing fine, but you bring Calafiori on instead of bringing on Ben White.
Because I don't want to leave Calafiori out because he's one of my little pets. I don't want to say that, but it's kind of like, I like Calafiori, and I like Calafiori. I like Calafiori as well. But is that the tactic for that moment? And as I said, Calafiori,
I need to go grab my crayons again, right?
Came on and played a disciplined left back position. Tell me what position he was playing when he came on. He was everywhere. He was all over the show, mate. He was like fucking Barry Allen, everywhere.
Is that a wrestling reference?
That's
can we have
Barry Allen is what we go off the Flash in the DC universe.
Okay,
very quick. Where is this guy? Right? He was like Wally West. Right? So it's like, what's going on here? And again, this is a guy that has realised that he's got competition at left back for that position with Nketiah. Nketiah, man. Nketiah.
Great goal, Nketiah.
Decent playing,
Yeah.
And the deal that we managed to get him on, loan with an option to buy or obligation to buy and all that, what a good deal. Good player. Good player.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of these defensive signings that we've made have been good.
Yeah.
So what is it about the attacking players that we've signed? It isn't just it just hasn't worked
lacking.
out. It's not worked out.
They've been lacking.
It's not worked out for Jesus.
Tony. Yeah.
It didn't work out for fucking Eddie Nketiah. It's not worked out. If it worked out for Jesus and Havertz, we wouldn't have bought Gyökeres. They would be the main men. They would be the main men. And if we bought anyone, it would have been a younger person to prospect.
Or a left wing.
We would have elevated someone. We made a statement by basically saying we don't think these two are good enough. We're going to pay top dollar for a striker.
Yeah.
And we went out and bought what we thought was one of the best in Europe because of the numbers. And there's been a lot of, I get it. He didn't have a pre-season. That was the first thing. Yeah, they had a pre-season. Well, he's had one now. He's had one now. He played on fucking, you know what I mean? It's like, and for me, it's like, again, that personality, right? My personality would be, if I was Gyökeres, okay, I'm playing here in Portugal. Fucking hell, man. I'm going back to Arsenal coming for me. Big Arsenal coming. But shit, man, I've got my work cut out for me. What do you mean? I'm talking to my dad. What do you mean you got your work cut out for you? Well, I've got to come up against Kai Havertz. He's on big money there. I know the manager likes him, but I'm going to have to battle him to get that number one spot. And then he arrives, and then he rings his dad out. He's like, you're never going to guess what happened. He goes, what's that, son? He goes, Havertz has only got himself injured for a season. He's like, really? You must be laughing. I know. I've got plenty of time to bed in, plenty of time to separate myself from,
the surroundings.
Jesus and Havertz, so they've been using. I'm going to have ample time now, and he's had ample time, and it's still so patchy. I mean, he had that small injury, which wasn't it wasn't for too long, and then it was like, just before he got injured, he was looking good, and he came back from injury, and he wasn't looking good, and it was like, but he had an injury, and he's not getting any service, and it's just like sometimes we just have to. Sometimes it's about the environment, right? Maybe he's not a shit player. Maybe it's a Pepe. Pepe wasn't the right environment for him, right? Nicolas Pepe came here from France with all those numbers, was unveiled, was our record signing at the time. Don't pretend you can't fucking remember Nicolas Pepe. I remember him.
72 million.
At that time, It was like a record signing. He was supposed to be like
72 million.
Like this big deal, and look how that panned out. It just didn't work. Sometimes it goes wrong. Sometimes it goes. Look at Anthony at Man United.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it goes wrong, and I think this is another one of those cases. Unfortunately, we don't want it to be wrong. We always want to make sure that the clubs made the right decision, because if they make the right decision, it's only good for the team. I wanted Gyökeres. Gyökeres wouldn't have been the one that I would have gone for, but it doesn't mean that because that's the one that we got, I wanted him to fail. I wanted him, and for me, it was hope. I was willing him to do well because we'd spent this money on him, and I want to prove everybody right. But I didn't think from day one, and it's on here, that I felt that he was the right fit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is, and that's why, you know, it's all well and good. People go, "Oh, the manager still believes in him." Listen to what he said in his interview, and listen to what Declan Rice said about him. But we had exploratory talks of Julian Alvarez. It wasn't like clickbait. It was rumors. It was confirmed exploratory conversations. Yeah. And if you were totally happy, you wouldn't be going down that avenue. So again, it shows us that something isn't quite right in that area of the pitch, right? And for me, I think the biggest miss for us, especially in that area of the pitch, Mikel Merino. If he was still fit and he was coming in, he gets you goals. He does. He gets you goals.
You got Mikel Merino and you got Kai Havertz, two of the bigger goal getters that would be in the team. And Victor Gyökeres has struggles through the season. He's gotten reasonable return of goals and assists, but you would probably put hand on heart say you'd want a little bit more from him. And then you've got Gabriel Jesus, who doesn't really pull up trees or set the world alight. He'll score a goal here and there, and it's kind of like the cherry on top of the cake, Alonso.
Jesus is too busy trying to go to ground or pick fights. And to me, you know, from a guy who's supposedly supposed to get us over the line, it hadn't worked out because he's always hurt. Like I said, he's always trying to go to ground, or he dribbles too much.
Yeah.
Dives, and it's like we don't need that right now. We never did need that, and I think we got both him and Zinchenko, aka Zinny. They've done nothing but digress or go backwards, right? Just like Odegaard has. And I tell people all the time that Odegaard's best is long gone. I don't see him coming back to from where he was 3 years ago when we first went on this second place run.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this just Arteta trying to play micromanage football, because it ain't pretty. No. And it's become so boring now that Arsenal have become too predictable. And I don't think Odegaard can play that style. Neither can Eze, because they have yet to figure it out. And again, we come to this point in the season where we're dropping points. And
dropping points and leaving the door open for another team to come in. I tend to believe that the main pointers for a season is, of course, not losing more games than anyone else.
May I say something?
Still in that mode.
I don't like to go too much of about money and all of that, but we're talking about players which are in the scheme of Arsenal's hierarchy are the top players because they're earning the top money.
Yeah.
And they're not, in this season, they're not making their return. Now, I mean, you went like 200 bags upwards in certain players, right? Some maybe a couple, one at
return on investment.
180, 200. You know what I mean? Saka's just signed a new agreement to make him the highest payer at the club, right? And we know that before that it was Kai Havertz. You're paying like world-class money. That's world-class money, right? But we're not at the moment getting the world-class return. And it's worrying because it's not just like one of them's off the boil that we pay our big money to. That's on like maybe 180 and above money, mainly 200. Yeah. It's not like one of them's off the ball, but the others are all like doing bits. It seems to be that all of them, those players in that category, and you can name them. You know, Gyökeres is on a couple of hundred. Jesus, Havertz. You know,
Yeah.
Martinelli. I know Trossard got a pay rise, but I don't know what it is. But those players that they're not seeming to be
He's
able
on like
to
110.
get I call that world class money, but I don't see us getting that world class return this season.
But to me, Saka's worst offender, only having 4 goals when
Numbers right, it's a terrible season from what you've had before, and it's okay saying like that pass and this, that, and the other, but you know he's supposed to be a player that creates goals, which gets you the assist, or he's scoring. And this season, compared to what we've already seen in previous seasons, this one's pretty bad.
And he should be double digit already on both levels.
I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it, but I mean, on the current form, I'm like, you know what? Maybe we'll talk in a little while. Let's see how the form goes a bit more before we talk about your contract. Not just like, let's just sit down and sign your contract. Obviously, if it's a situation where, there's a year left and someone could snap him up, you've got to move quickly. But other than that, you could use it to your advantage, right? Yeah, we're going to talk about your contract, but do you know what I mean? I think we should be talking about it when you're in better form.
Yeah,
Gives you more leverage, right? You give them something to. Again, it's a little bit of motivation.
And a World Cup coming up, they should be playing.
Again, it's a little bit like played really shit against Wolves, and then Arsenal do that classic thing like we've got this ace in our back pocket. It's like the following morning, yay, Saka signed. It's like Saka signed, well done, but I still haven't forgotten that performance at Wolves. You fucking cunts.
But hasn't Saka signed?
It's not like, look at that shiny thing over there. And you're like, oh. Meanwhile, the fucking bombs are going off over there. You're like, no.
But hasn't he signed a new contract every year except for one under Arteta? It's like every year.
Every 2 years, every 3 years, maybe, just to secure and keep.
But can we have a moment of laughter, Ray?
A moment of laughter.
Yeah. We can imagine this room, and there's this big fat guy on a bed full of pizza boxes and lasagnas.
Okay.
Can you imagine that guy yesterday during that game? In a room by himself.
What? You talk about a guy who lays on his bed and eats food?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we know who you're talking about.
But can you imagine that guy just in a room by himself, let alone being on a podcast?
Yeah. Scrape him off the ceiling.
That was we do know that guy, don't we, Tony? We do know that guy. Right?
Yeah.
He gets his supper served to him.
In bed.
In bed. And pizzas. All right? And then he gets angry. And most people get angry when they're hungry. But this guy gets angry after he's eaten. It's the opposite of hangry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Anyway, Stan's got some food.
I'm good.
Huh?
I'm good, mate. My missus is away in business.
Stan gets takeout.
I could be here for another 5 hours if I want.
That'll be you and Tony and maybe Alonso. I don't know. Tony.
I remember when me and Stan would stay up. It'd be like 5 o'clock on the Pacific Coast.
Yeah, we'd just be there spooning one another. Oh, sorry.
7 in the morning here.
Sorry, too much information.
Too much mental image. We went from pizzas on the bed to spooning.
We did, and too quickly as well. But
Alonso's kind of show.
Contract. It was a little bit like in the old days. It would be like a a bad loss, and he'd be like, "Look at this new T-shirt." And he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that's nice. I might order that." Do you know what I mean?
And when Tony gets too down, he gets high. He's able to get himself high again. When
He turns into Stony.
Alonso, a question. Where are you at the moment? I mean, obviously, yesterday was a bad loss, but are you in the camp where you think, yeah, we're still in this fucking thing? Or are you like, no, that's it, we've fucking blown it, it's all done, it's over?
Yeah, are you freaking out? Is this question to Alonso?
I don't mean freaking out necessarily, but like, are you of the opinion like it's done? I'm still in this.
Check his timeline
out. So Stan, and Ray and Tony, like, I've seen this story the past 3 years, 4 years, whatever how long it's been.
We're veterans.
Where I'm by now, Stan, I'm used to this disappointment crap. It's like we've had a lot of points right above on the table, and somehow City don't give up, or Liverpool or whoever it is at the time. So it's not lost yet. However, if we lose the Spurs,
we're not losing it.
We're not going to lose the Spurs. So I guess Chelsea.
We're not losing the league.
But still, I mean, there's that anxiety right in the back of your mind where we're not going to get
anxiety.
There's that word. He's been listening. He was listening
because you have that behind. You have that in the back of your head where this can happen again, and it's up to Gafford to figure it out. And he has yet to figure it out.
It's like, how many times can we be stood in that church at the altar, and we keep looking out to see if that car's pulling up, and got the vicar going to you, I have another one, and I have to do another one in 15 minutes, and you're like, she's gonna listen, she's gonna be here any minute now. And every time you hear a car pull up, it's a taxi going by. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it feels like. And I get the anxiety. Like, I keep fucking falling in love with someone, and they always stand me up at the fucking church every time. All for every time.
Stan, at this point, it's the bride scene from Kill Bill is where you're at now.
What is that saying called? Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, never the bridesmaid. What is that saying called? What is that saying, Stan?
Never the bride, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Listen, this is what rival fans are doing with us. I've seen the Arteta choke. It's the vegetable, the Arteta choke. I've seen season 5 of The Bottlers.
You have to understand, right, that I mean, I live here in Canada, try to watch as many live games as I can if it's not too early. If I can get it on playback, great.
As long as the time suits.
Seeing it for too long, I can't get up. I don't want to watch games at 4:30 in the morning anymore. But like, you got to see it through to the end.
See it through. Exactly.
Thing through to the end, man.
Let's do a little.
No one else wants us to win this. No one else. There's no neutral person going, I really hope Arsenal win it this season.
Richard Keys wants us to win.
They would rather watch Man City win it when it was only the last few seasons and they were going, I really wish Arsenal could beat Man City. Now we are. They don't want us to win it. They want Man City to win it because it's Arsenal.
Here's Morgan wants us to win it.
Right. So it's just us. We'll see it through to the end.
Yes.
Hearing that,
Ray, win the league,
makes
right?
Me want to lose.
At one point and win the Champions League. Where is the chaos? Where is the chaos? To win the Champions League and lose the league, but again, it's all about the manner of the loss. If we keep on playing games like we played against Wolves, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
Yeah,
but
totally
if we play the best that we can and we lose games, I mean, that's the way it is.
We drew a game, and it feels like the worst result of the season. By the way, after the podcast party at
but it is the worst result in the season.
Party at Tony's place. He's getting the beers in. I hear beers going in the refrigerator right now.
Right, it is the worst game of the season because, as I said, it's never happened before. A team that's in relegation has never played in the Premier League. A team that's leading, being 2 goals behind, and managed to claw it back to 2-2. It's never happened.
Yeah.
Ever.
Our defeats.
So, you know what
this
I'm saying?
season
It's not like we got at that other point. A team that's been relegated, is in that last position has never at any point played the top team, been 2-0 down, managed to get it back to.
Yeah.
That's the indictment.
It's embarrassing, Stan.
We shouldn't have that record.
We lost the crazy game against United last month. We lost against Liverpool in a 0-0 game up at Anfield in September, and we lost the game in early December against Aston Villa.
We drew against Forest as well.
Yeah, no, we drove.
Sunderland.
Don't tell Tony. Do not tell Tony how many draws.
Sunderland.
Yeah, Sunderland.
Tony does not know how many draws.
Sunderland, Forest. Those two games come to mind where there were points dropped, right?
Yes.
Liverpool.
We've drawn
Liverpool.
Chelsea.
We've done all that hard work, and then the Salubas like the free kick, man. You know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The season, and again, that's one of those where you're disappointed, but you're like, "Fuck, that one piece of magic." You know what I'm getting at? You thought we'd done enough, whereas the one yesterday, we were 2-0 ahead. I mean, that should have been it.
Yeah,
that's it. That should have been end of story.
The media will love it. They will pitch this weekend as a huge weekend. Alonso also knows the Six Nations will be continuing in rugby. A big game on Saturday, England versus Ireland at Twickenham, I believe. And then followed by Man City at home to Newcastle, where the Premier League will take precedence. And the media will build it up as can Man City close the gap to Arsenal. Most likely they'll beat Newcastle, although we have said that Newcastle are a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team. So it's the hope that kills you, right? But
right, you're lucky that Ben Spencer isn't playing that game against Ireland.
Who? What?
Ben Spencer.
Is that good or bad?
That's good for you. Bad for me in England.
Yeah, England got walloped by Scotland.
Yeah, that game sucked. I saw that game too. And
yeah, so listen, if France can get beaten, this thing will be blown wide open if France. But it looks like France are the creme de la creme. There you go, some French. You learn some French today. The creme de la creme of the competition. But Man City at home to Newcastle, and then we've got the small matter of a North London derby on Sunday.
If the game is at Newcastle, right? Newcastle have a chance of winning.
Nope, it's in City. It's in Manchester. Yeah, Newcastle beat them earlier this season.
Can I say something about Newcastle? Imagine that though, right? You're like,
yeah,
you're Walter Mead or you're Visser. You're a striker. You've both been brought to the club, and you're both sitting on the bench watching the manager play a winger in Anthony Gordon in your position. Again, you're like, am I that shit then? That's my position. I'm playing it. It's just, you know what I'm getting at. There's obviously reasons for that. But do you know what I mean? Again, if you're the owner, you're like, okay, you need money? Yeah, what for? I need to buy a couple of strikers.
Is that how he set up? Is that how he set up the last? But that was the Carabao game, was it?
No, he set up like that a number of times this season.
Okay.
It wasn't not a one-off. I've seen it a few times where and you're like, okay, so you bring in two strikers. I'm the owner, right? I'll give you the money for that, but you're keeping them on the bench and you're playing that guy in that position. He's better on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, maybe there's reasons for it, but it's just
not Mike Ashley anymore.
So, were they really those bad? But both of those really bad purchases then? Because
I think Waldemode's a good player, and I think Wisa will come good for them.
He had a good start, didn't he? He had a very good start, but maybe the managers think he's gone off the board a little bit, and
he's like a tall Rudy Voller. Remember Rudy Voller?
Yeah.
He's like a tall Rudy Voller. And Rudy was a good player. You know what I mean? Yeah. I wonder if he's knocking around the German national team. We'll see him in the at the World Cup, Waldemode.
But he's not a guaranteed starter.
No, probably wouldn't be.
That's his whistle.
Welcome to What
Tony
is
Smith.
Tony Doing? We
Tony
caught you
Smith.
red-handed.
Tony
Caught you
Smith.
red-headed. We caught you red-headed.
I'm
He
plugging
looks
in
like a
the
doctor, doesn't he?
headphone case.
So here's a
He looks like a
question.
doctor.
Here's a question. How do you set up? Obviously, we know we've got an idea about the back four, but in the attack, how do you set up against Tottenham? Are you sticking with Saka in this new position with Madueke
Yes.
on the right? Are you
Yes.
sticking with that? Okay, who you playing on the left? I don't think Trossard will be available maybe for the banged head. So maybe
He didn't he look so bad? Didn't he look really concussed?
I thought he was a fall down because it didn't look like he had any legs to him when he
Yeah.
first stood up.
Yeah. All right, I'll let Alonso dive in first. How are we going to set up Alonso?
Wow. So
The front four, let's say,
I'm
right?
gonna get another beer.
so I wouldn't mind putting Saka on the left,
Left, okay.
putting Madueke on the right. Sorry, Eze at the right 8, right left 8.
Okay.
I
You're
will
really
put
going for it.
Zubimendi 6. We'll
Yeah.
put
Victor Gyökeres
you put us at the striker position.
and Rice.
Left 8. Oh, left 8, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that is attacking. You're saying, okay, Trossard might be it. You're saying about the ice cubes.
Martinelli ain't gonna do nothing, dude. Like, he just doesn't. Look,
Those are the ice cubes going in.
if he has those goals, right?
Already at Tony's. All right.
I think Alonso's wild, man. We're like, so what are you saying about Saka then? You're going to play him in that central position or on the
left.
right? He's like, fuck that
The
shit.
right,
I'm playing
yeah,
him on
right.
the left, man. He's
Yeah,
going on
no,
the
but-
left.
He's
Didn't
playing
even
with
mention the
goalkeeper.
left. I was like, okay.
He should be goalkeeper. He can
Yeah.
run out with the ball.
But then if you're going to play Saka on the left, then you're looking to play a game where a tactic would be better suited where he's running up the line and crossing with his left foot, crossing into the box, rather than
No,
cutting it.
Left back days.
In, because he started in the team as a left back,
Yep.
right, on that
Yep.
side, and then he moved into like a left wing position, and it was Arteta that moved him to the right, and we're like, what? And it was like, no, hold on, watch. And it's like, oh yeah, he cuts in, sets himself and shoots. So if he's going to be playing on the left, then you're going to want a formation. I think that he's running up the line, he's the one that's crossing, but then the left back has to invert. Otherwise, you've got too much panic going up. You know what I mean? You have to do it that way.
So you have to play white.
Whereas I prefer it on the right-hand side where you have, when Saka plays on the right and he kind of plays in the more inverted forward style. That's why I like Ben White at right back because I like the way that he holds and runs up the line. Whereas you got him and Timber at the same time. Sometimes they're inverting at the same time. and Timber, he sometimes ends up where I would rather see Saka. And sometimes if you see the play when they're moving forward, rather than having the wingers on the outside, the wing backs on the outside and the wingers coming into a more striking position, it's the other way around.
Stan, sorry, I meant
and you've got like you've got like the wingers are the ones who are further out, and it's the fullbacks that are in the dangerous areas.
Sorry, I meant Madueke on the left and Saka on the right. Have it as a right 8. Nah, sorry, Stan. Let me say it again. I prefer Madueke on the left and Saka on the right, and having it as the right 8.
Interesting.
I think Madueke, to me, offers more than Martinelli and Trossard does on the left. But I want Eze to at least do some, get a goal in at Spurs as well, because I don't know. I want him to duplicate what he did against them in the fall, in November. So I prefer Eze starting that game.
Yeah.
pay good money for Eze, but it's funny because I do think that if this was like a alternative universe, and in that alternative universe, right, Manchester City bought Eze and Arsenal bought Semenyo,
Yeah.
I think the results would maybe be the same. And what I mean by that is that in that universe, Eze is tearing it up at Man City, and Semenyo is not looking like that player that he did at Bournemouth at Arsenal. Maybe because it's like, well, to play in this midfield, you got to play this way. It's more regimented at Arsenal. So it doesn't matter who it is. Because you have to look at I can't believe Martin Odegaard is just a bad player. We've seen what he can do. We've seen him play at a season where he scores 15 goals and has 7 assists. We've seen that. But is it fair to say that, well, Eze is no longer a good player? Odegaard, he's got to go. He's no longer a good player. Or is there a possibility that they're having to play in order to fit the manager's philosophy? I'm just summarising. I don't know if this is true, but in order to play in the midfield in this team, you can't. The way that we play now, it doesn't cater for that. It doesn't cater for that, because when we did cater for that, as good as it looked, we never crossed the line. So now we're going to try it this way. We tried it that way, and as good as it kind of looked, we still. So okay, this might seem a little bit boring, guys, but trust me, I'm not saying that that's what you know what I mean. It's going to work, but maybe that's what he's thinking. Okay, guys, listen, we need something. We're going to do it like this, because the flair when it comes to the midfield is lacking. Yes, we have a Zubamendi that's playing deep, and we're lucky that he can chip in with goals. You've got Declan Rice on his day, very good box to box, and he can chip in with goals. But that's not something that is yet a real part of his game yet. So you've got that other position where you're looking to be more creative and maybe come into goals, or whether that could be an Odegaard, Waneri, or an Eze. It seems restricted, hasn't it? It's like you're not doing that. You're not playing as a 10. You're playing as another 8, which is why I don't understand that. In that with what he's been doing with Saka, he's been willing to change the formation, making that position more 10 orientated. Especially the way it looked. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way when you see the match thing and the way it's lined up, you're like, okay, they're really trying to show this that he's playing in a 10 position. He's not playing as an 8.
Yeah, they've been showing that it's been a 4-2.
If you were going to do that, why did you not give Odegaard that chance? What would Odegaard have been like if we were playing that similar formation with Odegaard playing in that role and Saka playing on the right? Because we know he can play on the right. Or even Eze. These other guys have been restricted to play in this kind of an 8 style and be deep. And then the one time that he thinks he's going to open it up now, he moves our best player, admittedly has had a poor season this season, but out of his position into that role to keep Madueke in the side, rather than thinking, I wonder if I can unleash Martin Odegaard again. He's shown me that he could get fucking 15 goals and 7 assists when he's played.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm getting at? And I know he's been injured in that, but what about Eze? So that's what annoys me. I'm like, I don't understand the thinking there. If you're going to open it up, and Saka's fit, maybe him playing in that position. You know what I mean? It's not like we ain't got no one else there. And Madueke, he runs a bit hot and cold. So I don't know. He didn't do anyone any favors there.
So to me, Stan and Ray and Tony, I think that this formation or this tactic that Arteta has is dependent on four positions. That is the right back, right wing, left back, and left wing. So remember how Odegaard had 15 assists, right? Or 15 goals, right? That year, both sides were playing so well, they're unstoppable. The reason why we didn't win that league is because Silva got hurt, and Rob Holding was there to replace him, and I went to crap that year. But we didn't lose the league by just 10 points, actually by 3 points, I believe it was. I mean, 4 points. That year was Odegaard's best year. However, when you bought in white, timber replaced white essentially, it's all going to crap. The right side has been lacking ever since Ben White has been replaced at right back to me. Because Ben White, what he does best is overlap, he crosses the ball in, he works well with Saka and Udegaard. And Timber's a great fullback, don't get me wrong.
So what you're saying is, as good as Timber may look, it's at a sacrifice at some other players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can follow that.
But Stan, were you not saying that Timber looks better playing the left back?
No, you say that, Tony. I think Timber looks better as a right back. You're the one that says he's right-footed.
He did it one time against Mo Salah.
Plus, he inverts. He's used to invert
Defending.
on that right-hand side, right? I like Calafiori as our left back. You know, for me, Calafiori is the left back, and
Tony loves fullbacks and inverted fullbacks.
Timber the right back. I could get that, but I also think that Hencape at left back, he's beginning to give Calafiori a run for his money. And for me, no matter how good you are, if you're not available, if I can't pick you because you're not available to me, what good is that? What good is that to anyone? Doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not available to play through injury, or a player, for example, that is constantly being suspended, you're no good to the team.
I still think that was a bad substitution.
He doesn't seem to be available enough. And now he's looking at that and thinking like, fuck, you know, I need to get back to my best, because this Hencape guy, he looks good.
Mm-hmm.
You know? We're not all going like, Calafiori, where are you? You know, it's a little bit like when Kivior came in for like Gabriel, you know, he didn't see the join. These things happen. We're in that good position in the defence side of things. Good to have competition. But in the attack, I don't know what's going on there. And also in the midfield as well. You know?
It's crazy, like Kivior played like 20, I think he played 24 games with us, and we only lost 3 games those 2 years that he played in. He didn't make too many mistakes.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we should start winding this thing down.
Yeah.
Right? Even though Stan said he could go another 5 hours, I won't hold him to that.
You've hit my 3-hour quota. So
yeah.
Good.
Tony only gets paid if he hits 3 hour.
I just like to round off. I just like to round off then for me that it was a very bad performance against Wolves in the position that we're supposed to be in, and the manner of it, the manner of the loss. As I say, I could have handled it if they gave us their best game and we gave everything, but we were outdone on the day. But that wasn't the case. We were 2-0 up. We should have been able to shut that out or go for more. We didn't do either. Yeah. But bigger picture, you've got to see it through to the end, right? And as much as that our league, our gap has shrunk, it has shrunk, we still got a lead. We're still in the driving seat. So our destiny is in our hands. And you've just got to say, like, I might be nervous. I know that I'm really feeling, I've got a lot of anxiety. But until it's mathematically impossible for us to win the league, we're still in it.
Sure.
We're still in it. Remember in 1989 when we won the league at Anfield and we needed to win by a certain amount of goals. We didn't go there like, 6 points ahead or whatever. It wasn't a comfortable ride. We had to go on the last day of the season to the favourites and do a certain thing, and we came out. So what I'm saying is, we don't know where this is going to go.
Yeah,
we don't know where this is going to end up. And right now, we can be anxious and disappointed, but we shouldn't be throwing a towel in, surely.
Yeah,
surely. We are still in the best position.
Absolutely.
And until that isn't possible, we can have another conversation. And even if things start to go a little bit sour in this competition, there's other things going on as well.
Yeah.
Let's wait until we can look back and say, like, what did we achieve here? And if it's a total whitewash and we don't win nothing, bring it on. But right now we've got to be that 12th man. Got to.
Yeah. Big North London derby coming up on Sunday. Is this going to be a footnote in our season? I think it might be one of the. Tony loves a good roller coaster, so this might be one of the downward spirals, and then we'll hit the heights. You do.
You just made me think of a one roller coaster I liked in Kansas City. It spun around. It had 4 seats in it,
Yeah.
and like it had like 3 or 4 where it would go in like a U.
Spun independently as well. Yeah, listen. We've seen Arsenal in recent games win games, but very nervously win games. We beat Wolverhampton Wanderers at the Emirates in a very nervous way. We lost or drew this game in a very nervous way, and you always knew that something embarrassing was going to come. For me, that was an embarrassing result as an Arsenal fan to try and back my team with the banter that's go. But banter only lasts a day or two. It's like the newspapers. It's like the old newspapers. It goes away with the fish and chips very quickly.
Yeah, he's got another game in 3 or 4 days.
Exactly, Tony. There's always another game to redeem yourself, and those Arsenal players owe the fandom a performance and a result on Sunday. As Dan said, much to play for still in the Premier League. Maybe it's a 2-point lead over City if they win their game in hand. We're in a cup final. We are pretty much going to.
Yeah, but not if we win our game. If we win our game and they win their game, we stay the same, right?
Stay the same. Yeah, we are in a quarterfinal if we beat a very poor team in the FA Cup that we got drawn against, and we have a knockout stages of the Champions League where anything could happen. So plenty to play for this season. Who's going to go next, Tony or Alonso? You guys fight it.
I'll go next. Yeah. So the North London derby is always a big game. You want to think that they're up for it. And I want to assume that Arteta will have them ready to play. And use the Wolves game as motivation. And we can only hope that Newcastle do them in like they do us. Because they're a tough team, they're a physical team, and
yes,
in the past that's always haunted us playing at Newcastle, whether it be a home or away. But we can no longer depend on other teams to be our rivals for us.
Yeah,
that's why the game in April means much more now. You're gonna get a sneak peek of that when we play them in the League Cup final. I think if we beat them in the League Cup final, that will give me hope that we could beat them at the Etihad.
yeah.
With that said, Stan and Tony said that we shouldn't give up hope now. If we wait till the season and go back game by game, I think they'll drop points. Like City will drop points, but this long season left to go, and that game starts against Spurs, and then they'll just dismantle them and go from there. One game at a time for me.
It does kind of, just so I know some of my bit, but Alonso just reminded me. It does sound like this is one of those leagues where whoever wins it is the one that drops the least points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how the league's going to be won. Whoever drops the least, they win.
Okay, Einstein.
not about scoring. Do you know what I'm getting at? It's like because it seems Man City, usually, they've got the turbojets on, right? But they've been gifting us. They have been gifting us, and all of a sudden, our superpower, which was supposed to be defence, we're linking goals. We're dropping
Let's
points.
see.
Both sides are dropping points. They
Um,
shouldn't.
This will really it'll test this Man City team because many of these Arsenal fans that are feeling the anxiety are saying, "Here we go again." Pep Guardiola and Man City know how to time their run in the run-in, and Arsenal have to learn from these previous past 3 seasons, and I think they've got it. I think we have it in the dressing room that we can show our qualities. So, as always, Tony always likes to have the last word, and on this occasion, he does.
Hey. We can't have another dip like we've had. 10 points out of the last possible 21. We've been having these blips at the end of the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of everybody's like worriness and stress. Is like we've seen this now year after year because we failed twice on the chase for 4th place. We failed 3 times now for 1st place. So it's I can see why everybody's anxious, and we've had this bad run of form. But it's always time to turn it around. Still got plenty to play for.
Yep.
11 games left. You face City. You can get a little bit more cover there. Give some edge until they play their game in hand. But the thing is, like I said, we watch this for entertainment. Plenty of other things going on in life. But just enjoy everything when it's here. Try to enjoy Arsenal while we're here competing, because you can go 20 years without competing for the Champions League, like we were in the Champions League final 20 years ago. Which I still want to do a watch along of, right?
I knew you were going to say that.
But other than that, go Arsenal and take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself and each other. Say goodnight, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
And Stan, I think he was typing something somewhere.
I changed my mind.
Changed your mind. Yeah. All right, listen. We hit the quota. We did well tonight. Thanks, Alonso, for dropping in.
Are you doing a show? Are you doing a show on Sunday?
What?
Are you doing a show on Sunday?
Yeah, I'll commit to it. Yes.
Okay.
I'll commit to it. Hopefully, Alonso and/or Tony can join as well. I know it's tricky on Sunday for you, Stan.
Yeah, the missus isn't here though, right? So I can commit
on Sunday.
If you're going to do a show on Sunday, then I won't go to the pub. The missus ain't here.
It's the North London Derby.
So then I'll. If you're going to commit to the show on Sunday, I'll be here as well.
Tony will order beers to your doorstep and put it in the refrigerator.
Really?
Okay. Tony's just bought himself like a beer factory or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And coffee, Ray.
Beer and coffee.
I won't commit, Ray, until you come up with Apple TV so you can watch F1. So you can.
I can watch F1 on ESPN somewhere.
It's not on ESPN anymore.
Say goodnight, Tony.
It's not on ESPN.
Say goodnight, Tony.
Apple has American rights, Ray.
Think he's ever going to say goodnight, Tony?
I already said goodnight, Tony, once. So. Good night, Tony. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Did you watch the Arsenal fan circle?
Good night, pal.
Good pal.
Good night, pal. Take care, everyone. Hit that like button. We're out of here. See, so
Survive.
Or if a thumbs down, it counts the same.